Okay, we should now be live. This is session 10 of our CSI Midlands game, and I'm going to turn over to Johannes, who plays Jackdaw, to give us a little bit of a short recap of what happened last session.
Okay, not gonna go into super much detail because I don't remember all of that, and also to move along with the game. So we did little bit of light purchasing because we had the fairly massive windfall from the butt diamonds, and we as like arranged for the purchase of the house. We bought some equipment for the lieutenant, um, the friar as well, and we started wandering the city for two purposes. One, to distract the good lieutenant from his tragic social affairs. And, well, the second reason was for Jackdaw to track down the mysterious mm, doctor, I suppose, the physician who gave him a meaningful token, a black feather, once upon a time. And we stopped for a little bit of breakfast and thought that we might make it a regular place for that sort of thing. Stopped by the bridge town to arrange matters regarding the physician. Found our way to the physician's home, one supposes, in what was it called? It's Queensgate, the noble district, or one of the noblest districts. We had a good parlay with the doctor himself, with some death threats and a fair amount of alcohol. And we discovered that the doctor is, in fact, somewhat of an ally of ours, as he's a member of a religious order called the Order of His Divine Shadow, which is involved somehow with the bloodline, or I suppose the descendants of the previous king. Um, and we sort of filled in some of the events from uh, before the campaign itself through some experimentation with drug and alcohol abuse, and some visions were had, things discovered, memories relived, question mark, or lived for the first time, question mark. And Jackdaw has more of an idea who he may or may not be, and at the same time, he has less of an idea of what he is, even. But we've made an ally in the Doctor, and we have an idea where to take that. But we also have our other friends, the bandits. They had a name which escapes me at the
The
minute.
Red Moths.
Yeah, the Red Moth, who we have an arrangement with to uh, repossess a shipment of wine, good quality wine, as a favor for the Red Moths to arrange for the house that we bought. And we've sent for the absentee Big Mick, who did not partake in the previous session, and we shall continue, one supposes, as Big Mick comes to the doctor's house.
Indeed, we're going to pick up a short while before that. So, Big Mick, you've been the reason we had for your character not being there last time is that you were sort of liaising with the Red Moths, these bandits and vagabonds, because you originally brokered the deal. So, you're basically the person that Samuel Peel, their leader, trusts the most out of your group. So you've been sort of liaising with them to work out what exactly is going to happen when you're participating in this wine heist, effectively. So you've sort of finished off your negotiations with them, and they've told you that it's going down at midnight tonight. They've told you that the merchant Aloysius is coming in through Greyfettle Ward in the north of the city. So through, let me see if I can show you. He's coming sort of, if you look at the map, he's sort of coming down in this direction and making his way across the city towards Bridgetown. And you know he's going to be bringing a couple of carts in. They're supposedly going to have rare wines and teas. You've been told by the Red Moths that Aloysius supposedly has trade ties to the slugmen of the Far East, who are renowned for their dabblings in various sort of rare materials, opiums, strange teas, exotic compounds, etc. And Aloysius is one of the few merchants who has direct ties to them and brings in trade to. He's not the only one, but he's one of the few. And basically, he's bringing this wagon in with some of these like specialist vintage wines in, from the east. That the Red Moths are basically planning to boost a few bottles of the wines, because they know that it's fairly easy to shift them because it's a few bottles, but they can get a good price for them. And also they know that like if no one's hurt, the peakers aren't really going to look into it overly much because it's like a few bottles of wine. So they sort of they've explained to you that well let's play it out. You're still there with Samuel Peel and the rest of the Red Moths. Kate Keithstone, who is another member of the Red Moths, who's like a bit of a jewel expert, all told. She's the one who examined the gems that you gave to them to purchase the house. She's stood there and they're talking about their plans, and they're basically saying that Samuel says to you, he says, see, what we're going to do is when the carts come down, I'm going to have the rest of my guys, we're going to run interference. We're going to keep the peakers occupied and elsewhere. Then I want your lot, Mick, to go in, get whatever you can off the cart, get out there. We'll rendezvous a few streets away, divvy up the proceeds, and put it this way: if you do well at this, obviously we'll know we can trust you, and we might have a few more bits of work we can put your way in the future. How's that sound to you?
Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. Me and the guys are quite, we're quite capable in that kind of sphere of operations. So, yeah, sweet as a nut, me old China.
Nice. Look, normally when Aloysius comes in, he's normally got 2 carts, 2 wagons, and he normally has about 5 guards sort of dotted between them all. But shouldn't be too much trouble for you and your lads, should it? Like I say, we're going to be busy keeping the peakers and everyone else occupied so that you can do what needs to be done, if you know what I mean.
5 guards? I don't think so. I mean, couple of the fellas, they're a little bit tasty between you and me. Yeah,
Good.
I
That's what
don't
I was
see.
hoping you'd say.
Yeah, not a problem.
Right, nice one. Right, well, I've got to make a few more plans to go round with the rest of my lot so that we can make sure they all know what's going on. He says we'll meet back here at 11:30, and then we can all go over if there's any like last minute changes or whatnot. Then we can just get straight into it. Once the deal's done, we'll all meet up back here. We'll take you to one of our bolt holes. We'll split the proceeds. Happy days. How's that sound?
Yeah, I'll go and have a chat with the firm. Round them up. We'll be back half 11, as you say. Final questions, iron out any little wrinkles, and we'll be good to go.
Right, you are. Meet us here at 11:30 then. Don't be late.
We'll be here.
All right. Stay lucky. And he heads off. You see him duck down an alleyway a short distance away. Okay, what are you doing, Mick?
So did I get a message then?
You've not received any message yet.
All right. So the crack is, I don't really know where the fellas are. So I'm currently. Am I in the hideout that was the entrance to the?
You're not in the house that you've bought from the Red Moss, but you're in that sort of area.
I think I'll just mosey on back to that house.
Okay, so as you're moseying on back to the house that you guys now own, as you sort of getting a bit nearer, you can see a young lad wearing sort of fairly sort of smart servant's clothes, and you can see he stood with his back to you. He's like facing the door, and he's obviously just knocked on the door of your house, and then you see like he's also trying to like stand up on his tiptoes and like look through the window.
Oi, Sam, what's up with you? Who are you looking for?
He turns around and he says, "Oh, I've been sent here with a message for." He takes out like a little bit of parchment and he's like, "Big Mick."
That's me, lad. Speak away.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, he says, "Well, I happen to be one of the servants working for the apothecarian of Sir Thomas Gray over in Queensgate. I don't know if you know it. He's got some of your acquaintances who've stayed over there. There's three gentlemen staying over there, and well, they asked my master whether he could send someone with a message to tell you that's where they are and that you could meet them there."
Oh, well, that's most convenient. As it was, I was looking for them. So if you would be so kind as to lead the way, son,
Oh,
I will follow on.
yes, of course, sir. Please follow me, and he starts leading you through the city.
Much obliged.
So he leads you through the city until you reach Queensgate, which is one of the noble districts, as the others have said, and you're led towards what appears to be a large estate building. It looks like it might have once been a factory or something similar, but you can see now around the outside of it are lush gardens full of herbs and various plants. There's people walking around wearing sort of simple like white apothecarian smocks, sort of cutting herbs off the plants and stuff like that, although it only seems to be like the sort of hardier, like evergreen sort of shrubs at the moment, because obviously we're in October at the minute, October the 12th. And speaking of that, I'd like to get you to roll for the weather for me, if you would be so kind, Big Mick. So if you could please roll me a D8. Go on, give that D8 a shake, Mick. Okay, so this is the first time we've got a 1 on the weather table. So the general weather remains the same, which is medium rainfall. However, because you rolled a 1, we get to roll on the weird weather table. So I'm going to ask you, Big Mick, can you please roll me a D6 to see what manner of strange and weird phenomena are currently bedeviling the city of Great London. Okay, so as you're making your way through the city toward Queensgate, and you've seen this large building, the rain's pattering down. It's not particularly heavy, but as you're moving along at intervals, you hear like this, and the ground appears to shake ever so slightly. Those of you who are already in Gray's Apothecary, you will also be aware of this sort of this vibrational hum that occurs, almost like the aftershocks of an earthquake, that runs through the grounds at intervals, accompanied by this ominous rumbling sound, almost like thunder, but it seems to come from deep underground rather than from the air. Okay, so Mick, you're led up to the door of Gray's apothecary by the young lad. A couple of the people who are walking around recognise the young lad, and he sort of waves his hand up, gives him a bit of a nod, leads you to the door, opens it. Okay, so the rest of you, what are you guys doing? Obviously, it's morning. You've woke up, you've breakfasted, etc. Obviously, Sir Thomas Gray said that you're welcome to stay there. He seems to be sleeping in a little bit this morning, no doubt as a result of the prodigious amounts of brandy that he consumed the previous evening when he was spending time with you guys. But he's having a bit of a late one, it's safe to say, probably nursing a little bit of a headache. But what are the three of you up to as Big Mick is led in through the door by this young lad, this messenger?
Well, you always stand by your beds, lads.
Stop shouting.
Yeah, as you're walking,
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. The early bird gets the worm.
As you walk in, you can see Richard Uppington. He's got like a bit of a shadow of like stubble around his face. His eyes are a little bit sort of darkly rimmed, and he's looking a little bit worse for wear, to put it mildly.
Been on the old bevies, have we, lads?
Rough night.
A few sherbets.
Yep.
Look lively.
Yeah, I'll get you
Big
back.
day.
Well, I would have been writing my little note using some of the good doctor's better paper just to add more credence to it.
That's absolutely fine. Okay, so presumably that's the note that you've put in the chat in Roll20, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the benefits of anyone who's watching this, because they can't see that, effectively, Sir Richard Uffington has written a note that says, "Hour, take the best and break the rest. Rendezvous at the River Workers Guild House. Usual time, usual remunerations." And it's signed B. And it's sealed with Rupert Uffington's signet ring. Yes, it all looks very nice and official. You've been able to get some sealing wax off Sir Thomas Gray. Not directly off him, because like I say, he's sleeping off a bit of a hangover, but it instructed his servants to, sort of make sure you got whatever you needed. So you ask him for a bit of paper and some sealing wax and some ink and a quill, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, there you go."
Thank you.
Oh, not at all, sir. Not at all. You're most welcome. Would any of you care for any breakfast or drinks or?
I shouldn't mind a bit of breakfast if it's on offer.
Is this gentleman a member of your party, sir?
Yes, he is. Nice of you to ask. Big Mick's the name.
Keep the noise down, Mick, please.
The person who asked if Big Mick was.
Right, you are.
Sort of remains like looking at Richard Uffington like.
Yes, he's with us.
So of course, I'm afraid our store, since it's a winter, our stores are a little sparse at the moment. Sir, the servant says, turning to you, Big Mick, what would you like? We have some preserved meats. We have some bread,
Deviled kidneys would be fine on this occasion.
All right, I'll see what the cook can rustle up, sir.
Good lad.
It'll just
Much
be a few
obliged.
minutes. And is there anything else that the rest of you would like?
The friar is fine. He's just working through his his notes and preparing his spells for the rest of the day.
He's just sitting opposite a bookcase going, "Whoa."
Well, that too, yeah. Dreaming about being covered in fire.
That's it. Oh yeah, yeah. Go on. Okay. The servant hurries off and will return with like some meat, some kidneys, like a chunk of bread, some cheese, all the normal sort of stuff you'd expect a nobleman to have in their provisions. You can still see that Sir Thomas Gray hasn't risen. Like I say, he's nursing a bit of a hangover, so he's sleeping it off. So, aside from the few servants and the sort of apothecarians in training who are moving around, you can hear the grinding of pestles and mortars. You can see them preparing various herbs and various tonics. So people are drifting in throughout the day with various ailments, and getting seen by the assistant apothecarians. Aside from that, since you guys are sort of off to one side, like in the main entrance area, like on these nice leather chairs, little round table, you guys are pretty much left to your own devices. So, what are you talking about?
So, Big Mick, what's the plan for this heist?
So the deal is that I will explain the plan as opposed to my young son from the adjacent room. At 11:30 this evening, we need to we need to rendezvous with our fellow professionals in this matter, and we will iron out any last details. But roughly, the plan is that these couple of carts or wagons will come in from the north with around 5 heavies. They will our allies will deal with and keep the peakers occupied, whilst we deal with the 5 guards and snatch the assorted wines and valuable teas, etc., from this fellow whose name escapes me. Something like Aloysius. That's it. Yeah. And sounds straightforward enough. Apparently, the authorities are not all that bothered about the whole thing. It should be a stroll in the park, as they say. Piece of cake.
And how do we think that we will distract the guards long enough to get away with the loot?
I don't think we're distracting them. I think we need to cosh them over the head, and
persuade them not to follow us.
Persuade them to hand over the goods. I mean, I don't think we need terminate anyone.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it's early morning, guys, because obviously you guys have just got up. Big Mix had his morning meeting with the Red Moths and has travelled over here, which is probably taking no more than about 20-25 minutes. So you've pretty much got the rest of the day before you meet up for this midnight heist. So is there anything in particular you guys want to do during the day?
Well, Mick mentioned a stroll in the park. That might be a good idea to clear my head.
Also, do we know why they are coming in at night?
Well, my guess is that maybe this stuff is not that legit.
It will have paid off the guards at the gate to let them in at night. Which
maybe
that's they're no one's going to miss them if something happens, is what I'm getting at. They are not going to be in legit business if they're coming in at night.
Yeah, I think you might not be too far off the. I think you may be onto something there.
Just something to think about. There might be more than the Red Moth know, more than we can see.
Okay.
So if we actually put them down either for a while or just for the long rest, by which I mean death.
Yeah, I gathered that.
If that happens, I propose that you thoroughly check them to see who they actually are, because they're going to be working for someone. This merchant isn't going to be. I don't think a merchant would seek to do this sort of thing and not already have a client and or a patron. So, like, if we can find out who these people are that we're robbing and potentially murdering, that would be great.
Yeah, well, you're a little bit worried about reprisals and such.
Maybe, and also, if we can figure out who the person is, we can kill them first before they ever get to the reprisals part.
Well, that's one way of tackling it, I guess. Subtle.
Proactive action is
Proactive action. Yeah, that's
for
the one.
staying alive. Look.
The survival strategy.
Yes. We had a lot of this, and I hold up an empty bottle, and a lot of this, and I hold up the medicine.
Yeah, it's a bit early, I understand.
Okay, well.
I've been there, done it, got the leather jerkin.
So like you say, nice. So like you say, Jackdaw sort of waves an empty brandy bottle in your direction, and he also holds up a large leather pouch, which appears to have a sort of like a green, like herbal concoction in. So obviously you guys have still got plenty doses of that left.
Mm-hmm.
So because you bought like 2 weeks supply or something.
Yep. The dream weed.
That's it. So he holds up this leather pouch, sort of goes like that, and holds it open a bit. And you can see like if you've ever seen like ground oregano, it looks a little bit like that, but there's this odd sort of damp, almost like musty sort of smell, a bit like sort of slightly overripe fruit. That
Dank smell.
Yeah, that sort of comes out of the pouch when he sort of opens it and holds it open so you can see it.
It's like that stuff you might base up your Warhammer.
Yeah, flock. Yeah,
fantasy battle miniatures with.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. That and super glue. We got off on flock and super glue. No, but yeah. So we have a large bag of this, and yeah. So do we need to? So the Moss will be taking part in this. Is that right, Mick?
Yes, they described it as not a term I'm familiar with. Running interference, I believe they called it.
Mm-hmm. And we're supposed
I
to.
take that to mean some sort of distraction.
And
keep
we're
the peekers off our case.
Yeah, sounds like it. Hopefully they have a good plan for it. Then again, it's night, so probably not a lot of them around. But what's the we're to be stevedores? We're carrying the crates. What's our role in this?
Well, I have to admit, I didn't quite iron out all the details. I was thinking to leave it till 11:30 because I knew you'd have all your questions, and we've got a bit of time later to, suss out the finer points, as it were. Get the full Dudley, which is Dudley Moore, which is score, just in case you didn't know.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, the old Dudley.
Yep.
Okay, as you guys are having this discussion, you see the slightly frail looking form of Sir Thomas Gray coming down the stairs into the main entrance away. His grey hair's a little sort of mussed up, and his spectacles are on his face a little bit askew. He's walking down the stairs, holding his head a little bit. As he walks down, he sort of sees you all there and squints at you, and he's like, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning, Governor. Pleased to make your acquaintance. My name is Shifty Mick. How are you?
Oh,
And I offer up my hand there. Whoop.
Please, sir, please, a little quieter, if you will. I am.
Sorry, Governor.
And he sort of holds out like a slightly shaking hand. He's like, I am Sir Thomas Gray, apothecary to many of the noble families of this great city, and this is you are welcome to my place of work and indeed my home.
Much obliged.
Indeed.
I'll get back to my devil kidneys now then, if I may.
He's like, yes. Just gonna go and see if
I understand it's all a bit too early for you.
Yes, I'm just gonna. I have business to take care of and patients to see. But I'm just gonna see if I can get a glass of water first. But if there's anything you need me for, I'll be about the grounds. And he nods to you all, and then he wanders off.
Allow me, servant, get this man a glass of water forthwith.
Oh, please, sir, I pray you silence.
Oh, sorry. I realise you are in somewhat of a delicate state. I shall,
Indeed,
like I say, resume the consumption of my devil kidneys.
Indeed. I fear I may have overindulged somewhat the previous evening with your good fellows here, but no rest for the wicked, as they say. And one of the servants comes over and brings him a jug of water, and he drinks a little bit of that and seems to recover himself a little bit. And he says, "Well, I've as I say, I've got patients I need to deal with and poultices I need to make. But if there is anything else you need from me, but please don't hesitate to call."
Thank you for your hospitality.
No,
much appreciated, Sir Thomas.
Not at all. It's the least we can do. And then he stops. He sort of stops as he's turning away and turns back and looks at you, Friar Dunson. He says, "I'll about that matter we spoke to about the potential meeting of with other fellows of my fraternity. I'll do my best to arrange that within the next week or so. I should think it would be possible."
I would appreciate that very much.
Yes. Indeed. If did I seem to remember you said you'd acquired property, which I can't recall the name of the district.
So yes, I'll give him the address in Bishopsgate.
Yes, Bishopsgate. Of course. He turns to the servant who's sort of giving him the jug of water, and he's stood there, and he says, "If you could take down the address of the gentleman's just given me, I'll have a letter delivered there once the arrangements have been finalised."
Thank you very much.
I don't mean to seem indelicate, but I'm sure my fellows will ask. Are you planning to take on work in the city? It's rare that people who are, if you'll forgive me for saying so, people who are relatively unknown like yourselves, to suddenly acquire property. I'm simply asking, but my fellow fraternity members are bound to ask questions since they like to be kept abreast of the news.
This is a rather delicate situation. I think that it is best that we do not comment on the heir's financial affairs.
Of course, I entirely understand. I'll leave you to your own devices. Good day, gentlemen. I'll have a message sent to you when the arrangements are finalised. Like I say, should be certainly no more than a couple of weeks.
Okay, sooner is better.
Of course. Good day to you, gentlemen. And he walks off and starts going about his business in this large, stately pile that his apothecarian seems to be based in. Leaving you guys all sat around the table, there's drinks set out, obviously the food's still there. You're left to your own devices.
Should we scope out likely locations for this endeavor?
Good idea. Yeah, it's got the lie of the land.
Okay.
Okay.
So you guys know from what Big Mick has told you. Obviously, you're in Queensgate at the moment. You guys know that the Red Moths believe that the sort of following this tributary down here, the caravan is going to travel through North Beyond, then into Grey Fettle Ward, at which point it will take the roads and start making its way towards Bridgegate.
Okay. And is this amber line? Is that the wall? Is it?
It's not a wall. It's just the boundary marker for the
Okay.
district.
And is there a wall that is there a wall that it has to come through?
There's not a wall as such that it has to come through now.
Okay.
Basically, the outskirts in North Beyond is mainly sort of like farmsteads and stuff like that. Then as you start sort of getting further into Grey Fettle wards up here-ish, that's when like the city proper really begins, whereas it's mostly sort of farmland around here.
Okay. And where are we to meet the Red Moths?
Okay, the area they've told you to meet is basically on this edge of Bishopsgate, the sort of northern edge of Bishopsgate.
Okay.
Because it's fairly near to Grey Fettle Ward, so you'd assume, for right or wrong, that they're probably going to meet you here and then sort of travel here.
Okay.
And obviously, if they're planning on distracting the Peakers or be more prevalent around this area, they'll presumably do whatever they're going to do around here, leaving you guys free to go up here and deal with the wagon train.
Okay. So what do people think about this kind of corner here? That feels like it could be quiet enough.
Yeah, that's on the very edge of the sort of city proper, as it were. So the houses are still sort of not vastly sparse, but they're a lot more widely spread than the houses once you get further into the city. There's still plenty of sort of open countryside to the north of there.
And maybe we could procure a small boat and kind of park it here by the river, and then when we were finished with our business, nip across here into Hyde Ward, come down onto the main road, and then back into Bishopsgate that way.
Yeah.
That's not a terrible plan, right?
No.
In terms of what you know about the wards that you're talking about, Grey Fettle Ward, because there's a lot of trees to the north, is mainly known for sort of woodworking and products related to wood. Hyde Ward is it's particularly affluent in the western part of the ward. The area that you're talking about, which is the eastern area, is a little bit more common, but this ward specialises in producing cloth and fabrics. That's where like most of the ward's wealth comes from.
So
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, a boat might be a good idea, mightn't it? You know, that
yeah.
might be a nifty way to get away, and you can get a bunch of stuff on the boat, plenty of goods.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they arriving by boat? Why don't we just take the boat?
No, there are a couple of carts. I thought it was a couple of carts or wagons. Or have I got that wrong?
No, you are correct.
So they're coming from out of town.
Yeah, from the north there through.
They're not coming on the river itself.
No, they're
No.
coming down this road, we believe.
Tributary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, yes, I agree with the boat thing then. That sounds good.
Okay, so would we know which district was the best to find boats? There must be a few fishing ones, isn't
Well,
there?
yeah, I mean, certainly if you want to find a fishing boat, you're talking about either scale Hythe or never scale Hythe, so sort of either side of the districts that are abutting Bridgetown, because they're
What
both...
about?
Sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say, what about that guy who we had the crack with the other day? The guy on the lash who we met just after we crossed the bridge. He seemed an all right geezer. He clocks off pretty early in the day. He's out there of an evening. Then come by lunchtime, he's lashed.
It's very true.
We could probably persuade him to help us out, perhaps. That would be one option. I'm not sure of the scale of the map, but it doesn't look too far from that bend in the road to the
you
river.
see,
So
if you use the measuring tool, it will tell you.
yes,
Mile.
So it's half a mile
half a mile
from edge to edge, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll say they're a mile hex, isn't they? They must be by the looks of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's about a third, maybe fourth of a mile, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, because actually we could take the boat all the way down back to Scalehide and return it.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't even have to, we'd only have to rent this or borrow it.
Yeah. Might even be able to just throw the geezer a couple of bottles of drink or...
Yeah. We do have plenty of coin, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go to Scalehide and see if we can find some likely lad.
Okay.
Well, this geezer that we met before was he was just west off of when we come out of Bridgetown and we was in Scalehide, we was headed over towards Bishopgate down one of the main roads, and he was just hanging about. Can't remember what he was doing there. If he was just out in the street or if he was outside a boozer or something.
He was by the river. He'd just got his catch in, and he was just sort of like packing up his boat for the day. Because at the time you were like, oh, you're knocking off a bit early, aren't you? And he was basically saying he'd been out early in the night and sort of early in the morning. He was just coming back in. He'd been doing the sort of early morning catch.
He'd been on a drink already, though, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made some like frankly piss poor excuse about it's cold out on the waters, got a bit of something to warm you up. But he blatantly like gone out, not caught that much, and like got shit faced while he was on his boat.
On his boat.
Yeah.
He hadn't even waited till he come back in.
No, he was just sat there and he's like, oh, the fishing's not too good. Thump. He's one of them people who's like, oh, it's medicinal.
Drowning his sorrows for the poor
it.
catch. Oh, geez,
I don't even
classic.
if I remember correctly, I don't even think you ever got his name off him because he was so like shit faced that he was just like singing with you a bit and sort of like having a bit of a crack.
I feel like we'd introduced ourselves, but yeah, I might have just introduced myself and he just shook me hand or whatever.
I'm pretty sure you introduced yourself as Big Mick and he was like,
yeah, sounds about right. In fact, it might have been that exact. Yeah, that sounds exactly like him. Yeah, that was the fella.
Okay. So you're planning on going back to Scale to see if you can locate the same fella. Is that correct?
A likely lad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Since this is your plan, Big Mick, make me.
Ooh,
I'm not going to say
I'm
I'm not going to say you have to make me a roll because you've got plenty of time to fucking look around for him. So as you're looking around, obviously it's sort of mid morning by the time you get there, and you're looking around for this fella. And at first you don't really find him, but you ask around a few people, and you're pointing in the direction of a boat that's sort of moored by the side of the river. And as you go towards it, you can see what appears to be like just like a leg like sticking out of the boat, so like hanging over the side,
Dangling over.
yeah. And as you sort of get near, you can hear this coming from inside the boat. There's like a tarp over the boat, and just like the legs sticking out of the side. And you can hear this.
Oi, oi, lads, I think that'll be the fella. Here's our man. Me old mucker. Okay, I'll grab him by the leg, shake his leg, throw up the tarp out of the way.
Okay, you shake his leg, throw the tarp out of the way, and you see this like bleary faced and like rosy cheeked like fella wearing his waders and his fishing gear, absolutely like reeks of booze, sort of like stumbles up like holding onto the side of this boat, and he's like, "Hello! How you going on here?"
All right, me old China, how you doing? The morning has arisen.
He's like, "Who the hell are you?"
It's old Big Mick. You remember me? We had the crack there the other day. Frank Butcher's lad.
Nah, not ringing any bells, right?
Yeah, well, I know who you are, more importantly. We're after a boat, me old China.
What are you on a boat for?
Well, you don't need to worry about that. We just need a boat, and I've been hearing the fishing ain't been so good down here, and you've got to keep yourself in a few jars and whatnot. So,
Yeah, that's true. Well, what with the taxes and all? Yeah, it's just getting so bad. Oh, you haven't got anything to drink, have you, mate?
I'll look around.
Oh, my mouth's
anybody's-
as dry as a badger's sack.
Well, that's more information than I need.
Are those particularly dry? I don't know what a badger is.
Oh,
Well, neither do I, and I
it's just
don't
a
care
saying,
to
innit?
find
I don't
out.
know.
Have we got? I don't know if we've got any beverages. These fellas were out on the lash last night. I'll be surprised if they're keen to start quite so early.
He sort of peers at the rest of you as if like only just realising that like Mick's got some other people with him. And he's
Yeah, I
like,
sort of half-heartedly gesture around. Yeah, these are my
right, okay,
associates.
No, we drank it all last evening, so
He sort of rummages around in the bottom of the boat, and you hear like glass chinking. He lifts up a few bottles and goes like that, but they're all empty. And he's like, "Yeah, I did the same. But well, only boat I've got's this one that I'm sat in. He's like, I can't be selling that. It's my livelihood."
No, you don't need to sell it. We just need to. Charter it.
What?
hire it.
Well, I
Oh,
think
right.
that's the fancy word for like borrow it.
Oh,
Charter, borrow.
It's too early for fancy talk. Yeah, I suppose so. If the price is right. Well, what were you thinking?
Well, I wasn't.
Claire
so
Dunstan
much.
will just whisper in Mick's ear, have about 10 gold coins for 24 hours.
How about 10 gold coins for 24 hours? A little voice in my ear is telling me.
He says, "I'll tell you what. Make it 15, and you've got yourself a deal. 15 quid, 24 hours. That way I can go. And
What
I
do
can
you
afford
think?
to go and have a nice drink. Have a bit of a lie down in a comfy bed. And
What do you
I'll
think,
be
Friar?
rested up.
Yeah,
15
yeah,
quid, 24 hours.
Is that right?
seems fair.
Done.
Is he going to drive it? Are we getting him to drive it?
No, I don't think so.
Don't he know the river, though? I reckon we should rope him in.
Okay.
He says, "Whoa. What? Hey, I wasn't planning on like rowing it for you or anything. If you want me to,
We'll row.
if you want me to,
I'll row.
if you want me to do
We'll
all the hard
row it.
work
We-
for you, I want some extra money."
No. Well, I'm just thinking you can point us in the right direction. Make sure we don't run into any trouble.
He
With the
goes-
river and all that.
He goes, "Well," he goes, you see that sort of like murky, like greeny brown, watery bit that it's sat on.
Yeah.
Is that stay on that? You'll be all right.
All right. Well, if you insist, but don't blame us if if we come unstuck. That's all I'll say. I'm a butcher, not a sailor.
He says,
I'm
"Oh,
not up for no naval business.
butcher. Why don't you say so?" It's like, look, if you want to trade in kind instead of like the cold hard cash, I could do that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I
Bit
ain't
of meat
seen.
always goes down well with the missus.
Well, I could have
Pardon me.
I could have a word with my old man, but I ain't seen him for a few days as it goes. I've been a bit caught up with one thing and another.
No.
You know my old man, Frank, innit? Frank Butcher from Slaughter Ward. You must know him.
Yeah, name rings a bell. I've got a bit of a head on there, to be honest. But yeah, the name does ring a bit of a bell.
Yeah, well, don't worry, Aunt Julie. I realise you're feeling a bit worse for wear.
Yeah.
The main thing is we've got this all sorted out. We need your boat a bit later.
Yeah, what sort of time do you need it?
Uh,
Just so I know
well-
not to, I know not to be like out trying to get a catch in or anything when you need it.
well, we'll be here. Well, that's a good question.
Sunset.
Yeah, I was going to say, round about sunset, we'll be headed down this way making preparations.
Right, you are.
Also, Mick, I could just kill him and dump him in the water.
Well, that's all a bit unnecessary, isn't it, really? Let's face it. I mean, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, I'll just like.
I'll bear it in mind.
You do you.
I'll bear it in mind, and if push comes to shove, and one thing and another, and things get a bit tasty, we won't rule it out. Let's just say that, if that keeps you happy.
Yeah, I nod.
I've no desire to get shanked.
Right, well, if you need me for a nap, I'm gonna get a bit of a nap. Obviously, he takes like the 15 gold pounds off you, and he's like, I'm gonna get a bit of a nap. But yeah, the boat will be here at sunset.
Yeah, well, you get your head down. I'll put the top back over, and
He says, well, as you like putting the tarp over it, he says, well, I've been up here with Zoto. He says, well, you know what they say, the early goblin gets the eyeball. And he settles himself back into the boat.
they do indeed.
Okay.
All right. So, what's the
Right.
next stop? Do we need anything for the actual, bit where we acquire goods?
I would be inclined to, since it's like a forestry type area, to maybe examine it and see if we could find a tree or something that we could use to potentially block the road.
You'll be planning an ambush.
Yeah. Watching too much Robin Hood.
Oh, the popular play. I've seen it.
That would kind of make them stop, and then
It certainly would.
we could give them a good scare, send them packing.
Perhaps we could get a couple of wenches in distress by the roadside. Thumbing down passing traffic for assistance.
Perhaps you could dress up as a. No, forget that idea.
Well, you're a lot prettier than me, Lieutenant. Maybe you're the man for the job. I could borrow a dress off my sister. I think you're about her size. Or perhaps me old mum. Now come to think of it.
Well, I have some business. It dawns on me now that we're here in Scalehide. So I'll meet you up north if that's where you're going to.
Not
prepare
more
the-
mushrooms, Jackdaw. Not more mushrooms. Have you?
No.
You never learn.
No, it's not mushrooms.
Not this time.
No. But I'll meet you at the forest ambush site in, let's say, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll wait for you there.
Yep.
We'll watch out for you.
Yep.
Try not to kill anybody while we're gone.
I'll do my best.
I'm sure you fucking won't. Okay.
He didn't say what he'd do his best to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he has a
I'll do my
very
best. Kill everybody.
yeah. He has a very specific set of skills.
Okay.
So yeah, Jackdaw wanders off into like forward in the like shoreline of Scalehide.
Okay, yeah, no problem. You're wandering the shoreline of Scale High. You can see that the sort of early morning fishermen are like coming in now, dragging their nets with them, bringing in their fish, sort of tying their boats up, etc. A few of them, rather like the fellow you just spoke to, since they do most of their work in the dark, they're either like retreating to taverns, or because they've been out for like hours doing fairly labour-intensive work, they're getting a bit of shut-eye in the boats because, well, they don't have to pay to like sleep in their own boats, whereas they do in a tavern, basically.
Yeah, yeah, sort of like a free bunk.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the whole idea for Jackdaw is to try and just wander the shore in an effort to try and find the bit that he saw in his drug-fueled dream, where the other Jackdaw, maybe again question mark, came onto the shore. So he's trying to hunt down the scene from his dream.
Okay, so you're wandering around Scale High, you're looking around. First of all, you don't see anything that seems to match what you saw in your dream. Then, then you spot a few things that sort of look vaguely familiar, although they're sort of in the wrong places. Then, as you look across the river, you realise that this other you in the vision you had must have been standing in Nether Scale High across the river, looking at Scale High. That's why everything seems to be like the other way around.
Mirrored. Yeah.
You think you must be sort of pretty much standing in the place now that he was looking across to.
Yeah, so I'll make a mental note of like, oh, well, this seems kind of familiar on the other side. I'll make a note of that for later.
No problem.
And then I'll probably like go buy like some fish and just eat it raw Gollum style on the shore.
Yeah, I mean, you can get like some small fish for like a few like copper pennies.
Yep.
So that's absolutely fine. There's a lot of the sort of fishermen, because obviously they get taxed if they try and like sell them in like an official capacity. A lot of them sort of on the QT, you know, if people are wandering about, they'll just be like, oh, fucking sort you out some fish, you know, like no one needs to know, a bit of cash in hand,
hustle.
so to speak. Exactly, yeah.
That illegal fish trade.
And you know, it's pretty much like an open secret. Like all the I mean, you see a few peekers. Like all the peekers obviously know it's going on, but like it's not causing any trouble. It's really not worth their effort to like try and like intervene in a fisherman selling like a few like fish. So a lot of people will just like, if they want to get a bit of a bargain, especially like poorer people from like the outer wards, so coming to like Nether Scale Hive, or people who maybe work in the more affluent wards but aren't themselves particularly affluent, they'll quite often head down there sort of early morning to sort of like, because they can get a cheaper deal on the fish because they're not having to like pay the big tax on top of what they would normally pay. So there's actually quite an odd sort of eclectic mix of people, you know, and you can see it's pretty much out in the open. It's pretty blatant, you know, just like the fishermen sort of like passing over like sacks with fish in, and like people just like handing them pouches of coins and stuff like that. Yeah. There's a bit of banter and a bit of chat going on. You see a few peekers here and there as you're wandering around. They obviously know it's going on, but they're just like,
yeah, not worth the trouble.
Yeah, in terms of like the paperwork and all the shit they have to like fill in, for the sake of like 3 mackerel that have been like sold without tax. They're like, nah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'll have my breakfast and and then eventually after my wanderings and eating, I will head north, like I said, to the
Okay.
rest.
You start heading north to meet up with the rest, and as you're turning onto a street to head towards the others, you see a man, and he looks very lost and confused. He's wearing fairly sort of typical like workers' clothes, but he's wandering around the streets. He's like, and he keeps like walking over to people and sort of, and then he gets like a bit of a weird far away look in his eyes, and he sort of wanders off, and he keeps like going up to buildings and peering at them, and then like wandering off and going to another building. He's just like wandering back and forwards almost like randomly, sort of in the middle of the street. You notice a few people sort of like see him and they're like, okay, give him a bit of a whatever, and like walk around him.
And he's not saying anything.
No, he keeps going up to people. He keeps like sort of half opening his mouth as though he's like, as though he's about to say something. And then like this strange sort of like slightly dazed look comes over his face, and he's like, and he walks away. And most people are just like, who is this like crazy man? Like, we don't know anything from him. Like, especially with like obviously the plague and everything going on. They're like, oh, maybe he's been afflicted in some way.
He's sick in some way.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna shadow him for a little bit to see like if there's a pattern to like what he's doing, or if it's just actually damage somehow.
he just seems to be wandering around, and it's as though he's trying to work something out. Like he's got like this look of intense concentration on his face. Like every time he sees a building, it's almost like he's going up and he's trying to like examine it, or sort of like it almost looks like he's lost, like he's trying to work out where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps sort of seeing people and sort of going like, oh, they look. You see the look on his face, like a momentary glimpse of recognition, like, oh, they look familiar. Goes up to him as though he's going to say like, oh, hello, and then he's like, oh, don't think I do know them. I'm not sure, and he sort of loses his nerve and wanders away from them.
I'm going to, if there's any urchins around, street kids.
Oh yeah.
I'll hand one of them a coin, a silver one, and tell them to go up to the guy and like ask what his name is and what he is looking for.
The young urchin you hand it to, he's like, all right, cheers, squire. Right, you are. Like pockets the silver coin deftly, like wanders up to this bloke. You can't really help what they're saying, but you can see him sort of like talking a little bit, and the bloke was quite confused, and he's like. And then the young lad comes back and he's like, well, if that don't beat all, he says, that way-faced fool over there says he'll know what his name is.
What was he doing then?
He said he's trying to work out where he is. He said like he keeps seeing buildings that he thinks he knows, but like when he goes up, he's not sure. And he keeps seeing people he thinks he knows, but again, he's not sure. He seems really out of it. Like you don't know what day of the week it is.
All right. Thank you.
Got anything else you want doing, Squire?
I'll let you know. You're staying around these parts?
Yeah. He says, me and the lads would just be knocking about if you need anything, and you know all you gotta do is shout, and he like jiggles the silver.
Yeah, I know what he means. I'll keep it in mind for when I come around next time.
Right, you are, and he nods at you, and it's like his cap a little tug, and he disappears off to like the lads, and you see him like waving this silver coin about. And there's a bit of, like excited shouting from these other couple of lads.
Yeah.
Back over to.
So this is where did I meet this person?
Okay, this is on the It's on the northern edge of Scalehythe, just between Scalehythe and Messon Ward.
Messon Ward was where we had our breakfast last time, wasn't it?
Indeed, it is. It's the sort of like the craft district.
Yeah,
where all
the
fine crafts are performed.
Yeah. I'll go up to Mr. Confused and I'll put an arm around him and say, "Sir, you look lost. Would you?"
Yes, sorry. Do I know you?
No, but
You look familiar.
does he look familiar to me? Yeah. I seriously doubt that, sir. But even
No, but
if I do,
this place, I just, um,
I believe you may have hit your head. Please come this way. I know a bunkhouse or a tavern. You're blatantly in need of rest. Please follow me, sir.
he seems fairly amenable. He's like, oh,
Mm.
okay. Although he does seem like very confused and slightly befuddled.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he allowed you to lead
Yeah.
him wheresoever you will.
Yeah. So my plan is to get him to the same tavern slash inn that we were at. So if we get there, I'll just have him sat down there at a table, and I'll try and find the old lady that runs the place,
Yeah, not a problem.
and I'll I'll just put down my bag of coins, and I'll say, "So there's a gentleman back there. Also, hello, it's me again from yesterday with the chicken
He says,
bones."
oh yeah, yeah, yes, I can see that, dearie.
Mm.
What's wrong with your friend there? He looks a bit
I do not know.
addled.
Yes. And I do not know if he's just feeble-minded or if he hit his head. But I need someone to look after him because I have business to attend to. But I would like to have him somewhere where he doesn't hurt himself or other people don't
Oh
hurt him.
well, I mean, if you can pay for room and board for him, I mean, yeah, I can keep an eye on him.
Yeah. How much is that?
So, oh well, I mean, if you just need a bed and simple fare, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, copper a day.
Sure. And I'll put down a gold coin.
She sort of like picks it up and like tests it in her teeth, and
Yeah.
like drops it down the front of her blouse and says, "Oh yeah, that'll more than cover it, dearie.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on him, don't you? Will you want me to make sure he stays here?
Yeah. Just give him here. Give him the chicken broth, and don't let him wander into the street because I don't think he knows who he is or where he is, and that's not good in London because there are people like me in London, but that's a topic for another day.
Says, oh, you're right there. You're not be wandering around the streets if you don't know who you are.
Mhm.
Oh, dearie.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, that would be a bad idea. I say with full comprehension that that's me.
says, don't you worry about it. I'll keep an eye on him.
Good. Um, well, I'll leave you to it.
No problems.
And I'll go back, explain the situation to my confused friend. That he's going to be staying here. He's going to be taken care of, and I will be back for him later.
He's like, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't do anything stupid now.
No, I don't think I would.
Good. If you remember anything, ask the lady for. Well, I look around. There's probably not a lot of paper around these these parts. Ask the lady for a piece of charcoal or something and write it on the wall. If you remember anything, your name, why you're here, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, you'll be good now. I'll tap him on the shoulder and take my leave.
He nods and you leave the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so presumably you're going to continue
Yep.
to meet with the others. So
Yep.
A short time later, you meet up with all of your fellows. Where are you all meeting?
Won't we
at-
meet
At this
by
corner here, yeah.
Yeah, that
the-
bend in the road. Like,
That's where we were going to examine it, and then we were going to wait there till Jackdaw joined us.
No problems. So, let's see how far that is away from where Jackdaw was. So, we're talking it's about 4 mile away. Okay, so Jackdaw, you foot slog it the 4 miles across Great London. Eventually, the crammed together buildings start to thin out slightly, and you start seeing a little more sort of greenery as you're getting towards the edge of Grey Fettle Ward. And as you head towards the sort of corner of this road where you've arranged to meet with your companions, you can see them there. And as you look down the road to the northwest, in the distance you can see sort of dotted copses of trees. Most of them have, obviously because it's October, most of them have shed their leaves now, and you can see the sort of twisted branches reaching up into the sky. Again, as you move, there's this from deep underground, and the ground appears to vibrate slightly.
Do people react in any special way, or?
You notice people have obviously noticed it as you're sort of like walking past. You see a couple of people make like religious signs with their hands as they're moving, but no one seems to be like really talking about it.
This is a new development, yeah?
It's been happening sort of on and off throughout today. Now, anyone who's been raised in Great London, you will know that occasionally there are like bouts of weird weather. Everyone's got like a story like, oh, do you remember like 50 years ago when it rained frogs from the sky for a day? So like weird weather is not unknown in the boundaries of Great London. However, it's a fairly rare occurrence, and like when it does happen, there's always people who like believe it's like a sign of disfavour from the gods, or for instance, that was exactly what people said when the plague first started. You know, it was and you've heard preachers saying it's a judgment for the sins of Great London on the people, and they have because most people in the Havenlands are religious to some degree or another. So anything like signs and portents and sort of odd weather, anything out of the ordinary, tends to get lumped into either it's witchcraft and devilry, or it's like a sign from the gods. Okay, so you all meet on the corner of this road. It's like early afternoon by the time you all meet up. You can see this long expanse of road stretching off to the northwest, where it heads out of Grey Fettle Ward and into the north beyond. And as you look down the road, following the little tributary of the river, you can see the copses of trees start to thin out and become more sort of like farmland as it continues further north into the north beyond. But sort of there's these copses of trees, and some of them are quite big, almost like tiny little forests rather than copses, as you head off in that direction.
Is there any kind of near the corner where we might be able to hide, or?
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of trees, but there's not really very many in sort of this area, to be honest. Most of the trees are sort of around about here.
Okay.
You see the largest concentration of trees is here. And then there's a small concentration here, and the road like threads between those. Almost so there was once like a larger sort of like forested area here, but like the road cuts through the middle of it, and the trees have been cleared away from the road.
Okay. And just in terms of the corner again, then is there any kind of rubble or anything that could be put across the road as a kind of barricade?
Looking around, you can't really see any sort of big piles of rubble or anything along those lines. However, because you're sort of in Grey Fettle Ward, what you can see is that nearabouts where people have like gathered wood, there's like a couple of like little carts, like, you know, sort of like one man, one horse carts that have got like wood piled on them. Presumably people have like cut the wood, and you know they're going to come and collect it later or something similar.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so when we can come back, we can potentially break one of the wheels leave the cart across the middle of the road, and then that will stop the carts coming in, and then we can just do our business and be gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting late. We should maybe go back for our boat and then try and make our rendezvous.
Okay, so you wait until sort of like early evening, sunset. You head back to where you met the inebriated fisherman before. You see it is sort of like sobered up a little bit now. Obviously, he does most of his drinking early in the morning, and he's sat by his boat. He's got like a little sort of fire going, like a little wigwam of sticks, got a little fire going, and he's got like a fish with a stick pushed through it, and he's like turning it over the fire. You can smell like that strong sort of like fishy aroma as he's like cooking it. He's just sat there like cross-legged, like obviously waiting for you guys to turn up and having a bite to eat while he's waiting. As he like hears you approach, he looks up and he's like, oh, I was wondering when you'd get here.
Yeah, well, we're here.
He points over to the shore where the boat's moored, and he says, well, there she is. Lovely little boat. Try and get back to me in one piece, if you don't mind.
We should endeavour to do that.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I suppose any of you would have that drink on you now, would you? I could just do something to wash this down with. He says, and he points at the fish on the stick.
Maybe later we may have something, but not at this moment.
Yeah, if all goes well, we should be laughing.
Right, you are. He says, well, I'll be here waiting for you to bring the boat back. So, obviously, don't tell me what you're up to with it. The less I know, the better.
Correct.
Loose lips.
My sentiments exactly. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more.
That's it. Nod's as good as a wink to a blind goat turd, as they say.
Indeed. Exactly.
Okay.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Does the boat have a sail, or is it purely a rowing boat?
It's purely a rowing boat. It's just like a small fishing boat.
Okay, so I guess we'll get in, and myself and the lieutenant will row.
Limber up a bit.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask both the lieutenant and yourself, Fry, since you're the ones rowing, to make me a strength roll. Now, if you fail the strength roll, don't worry, you're not suddenly going to be like, oh, I've fallen out of the boat or anything like that. It's just basically to see how tired you are because you're like rowing upstream. So
we just go left a bit, and then when the other one fails, we go right a bit.
Okay,
we're not going in a circle, anti-clockwise or clockwise.
Okay, but luckily both Fry Dunstan and Richard Uffington have obviously had 2 Weetabix this morning.
Yeah.
They're both like stripped down to the waist, slap a bit of oil on,
full of head,
get the muscles out, and they're quickly
ding, 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 full of head.
And you can see them sort of like glancing across it. They're actually doing this like fairly professionally. Yeah, and as you start shouting, Paul, Paul, you see them like looking across at each other and like timing their rows. And pretty quickly, the boat starts cutting through the water. Now, you can tell, obviously, you're going upstream. Despite the fact that you've succeeded on the rolls, Sir Uffington and Fry Dunstan, you are going to be feeling a little bit fatigued because you are going upriver. But thanks to those rolls, it's not going to affect you in any sort of system way. It's just a role play thing. Your arms are going to be aching, your shoulders are going to be a little bit achy. But in no time at all, you find yourself sort of rowing up the small tributary of the Great Thames Water, and you see the road that you're planning to make your stand on to your right as you're sort of rowing up the river. You can hear the soft like of the oars cutting through the water as you row.
So we'll be looking for some kind of not quite a cove, but somewhere where there's a little bit of where the bank comes quite close to the river, so that we can kind of pull the boat up, but also looking for something relatively discreet.
Okay, as you're as you're sort of rowing down the river, just as you sort of get to about here-ish, you can see that there's patches of like long grass and reeds here on the bank, and you think that if you pulled your boat in here, sort of like quite close in, it'd probably be pretty much hidden by the large tufts of grass and the reeds from anyone who's stood on the bank. Obviously, if they're on the opposite bank, it's not going to help, but if they were just sort of casually walking past, they wouldn't immediately be like, oh, there's a boat.
Okay, so we'll I guess we'll tie it up there to a pretty solid tree and head to meet Big Mick's new friends.
Okay.
Yep.
Not a problem. So you head to the meeting, and as you reach the allotted place, you can see there are 5 people stood there. You recognise one of them as Samuel Peel, the leader of the Red Moths, and a couple of the others you think you recognise as having seen previously in the caves in the upper Middlegloom, including a young woman and a young fella. As you approach, Samuel Peel looks at you, Big Mick, and he's like, everything all right, Mick?
Yeah, everything is fine, not a problem. Yep.
Right, we all good to go, are we?
Yeah. Is there? Now the fellas did have a couple of questions. Now, what was that? Something to do with how you was going to operate this distraction.
Right, well, what do you want to know?
Well, what are you thinking? How are you gonna distract these guys? I think they're
right. So to keep it simple, effectively, what we're going to do is we're going to hit a few of the taverns in the surrounding district, like the immediate surrounding district, and we're going to start a bit of a ruckus there. Now,
right.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start it. We're going to move on. We're going to start a few in different places. So once that, you must know how taverns go. Once a ruckus starts, everyone jumps in, and once they get to a certain, if we keep them going for long enough, eventually the peakers will have to intervene. And if we do it in enough places, that's going to keep them occupied while you do what needs to be done.
Very shrewd. Yeah, I like it. And this fella who's bringing this stuff in, what is it not all that legit? Because we was thinking, it's a bit odd coming in at night with this stuff. Is he a bit way, a bit woo, a bit iffy, like,
He says, well, I don't know about being a bit iffy. I mean, he's got trade routes to the east, so you make it out what you will. But he always brings his stuff in the evening. But like I say, he's only got small sort of stuff. It goes to like a very elite clientele. So I reckon he brings it in and keep the plebs away from it.
All right, yeah,
But,
that's probably understandable.
He pays off all the right people. He's he knows how to get things done. I'll give him that.
Right, but he's not associated with any sort of like gang that might be a bit tasty or anything. There's a few concerns about backlash, reprisals, stuff like that.
Not to the best of my knowledge. Like I say, he brings in small amounts of like high price luxury goods from the east, from his contacts, and a few specialist brews from Scotland and the Havenlands and whatnot, and brings them down here to the capital and sells them on for a high price.
And when we get the gear, where are we gonna take it and meet up with you to?
We'll meet back here. Then once we've met back here, we'll take you to one of our bolt holes. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you where it is now. And in fact, even my boys don't know which one we're going to yet. Because then if one of us gets caught, we can't lumber the rest of us in it, can we?
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Is the meeting place close to the river?
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
Cool. Okay. And how much are you expecting this prize to fetch?
Says, well, I don't know exactly what bottles he's going to be carrying this time, but well, I've and he leans in a bit close. I've heard that some of his like Eastern sweet wines can sell for as much as 80 quid a bottle. Can you believe that? 80 quid a bottle. Who's got 80
crazy
quid to
money.
spend on a bottle of wine?
Silly money.
I mean, think of how much beer you could get for 80 quid.
And is he likely to be with it himself, or is it just the 5 guards?
He says, well, no, he always comes with it. I don't think he trusts anyone to be like in the cart with it. Most of the guards are normally on the outside of the carts.
Okay. Okay.
So if things go bad, is it a priority that the merchant lives? Do you think this would be an ongoing gig?
Well, put it this way, I think part of the thing is at the minute is if we like rob some of his like stash, but like normally we don't take, if like we're going to rob something like this, we don't take it all, because then it makes it more trouble than it's worth to get it reported and to get it investigated. Now, if like a prominent merchant gets killed, that's a different matter entirely. After all, the Peakers ain't going to like go hell for leather to like investigate a few stolen bottles of wine, but a high reputation merchant getting like offed, that's a different matter entirely. That's more likely to get him poking their nose in. So if we can avoid killing him, that'll be better. And also we can rob him again.
Yeah, that too. And in any case, if he ends up dead, they're not going to find him. So no worries on that front.
I like the way you think, my friend.
So the idea is that we pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 cases of the wagon, and the idea being that they are expensive bottles, so we can make do with them fairly low quantity.
Look, when we get down to brass tacks, it's a bit of a smash and grab operation. What I want you, while we're running the distraction, what I want you fellas to do is get in there, quickly assess what's there, what you think looks a bit tasty, grab what you can, and get yourself out. That's all.
Yeah. All right.
And one other thing as well, preferably don't let them see your faces.
So scarves then.
Because some of you look a bit more distinctive than others, and he like nods at you, Jack Duff, you know what I mean? And
I'll pull up one of my scarves.
Fucking subtle either, Big Mick.
Oh, hey, what are you trying to say?
Fucking look at you, you're massive.
Well,
Yeah, reel it in, Mick. I'll pat him on the belly.
Yeah.
That's
I'll do
more
my
like it.
best. I'll do my best walking onto the dance floor walk.
Look, all I'm saying is if they can't identify your face and they can't give a description to the Peakers, how are they going to look for you? Whereas if they can say, oh, it's a guy who looks a bit like this and his nose is like that and he's got a massive gut and he like dirty talks like this, then the Peakers are more likely to be interesting because they got more to go on. Don't give them anything to go on. That's how we stay under the radar. We don't cause too much trouble, and we keep things on the down low.
I can't say as I'm all that impressed with that bit about a massive gut, though. I feel like you're having a little bit of a pop.
That's fucking telling the truth. Telling the truth, Mick. You're
Well,
the one who goes around calling yourself Big Mick.
Yeah, but I lost 20 pounds last week on my diet.
Fucking what'd you spend it on?
I'll draw one of my knives and I'll look to Mick and I was like, do you want I should open his throat, Mick?
No, it's okay.
Fucking
I'm just going to get...
Calm down. Just a bit of fucking
See,
banter.
I'm gonna get a sack. I think what we'll do, we'll get some sacks and cut some eye holes in like a scarecrow, and just put a sack over our heads with a couple of eye holes.
That's it. Now you're thinking. And you don't have to do this, to be honest, but what I'd do is I'd try and the sacks will probably do this anyway, but I'd try and disguise your voices a bit. Well, you'll probably be a bit muffled because of the sacks anyway.
I might try and put on like an Eastern European accent or something like, and I will talk like this.
Yeah,
Give us the wine.
That'll probably
Give
work.
us your wine.
Yeah,
right now.
anything that makes you a bit more difficult to identify.
Okay.
Don't have to be a good voice. Just like I say, you probably get away with it if you don't want to do it because of the sax, because they'll muffle your voice a bit anyway. But that's good thinking, Mick, about the sax. He says, other thing, could give you this. And he takes out what appears to be like a small metal, like tubular whistle on like a little bit of leather thong, and he holds it out to you, Mick.
Oh, right. What's that then?
He's like, look, hopefully we don't need it, but he's like, one of the things I like to say to like my boys is that if they get in any trouble, they know we can back them up. And at least for this operation, you're working with us, so I don't see why you shouldn't get the same thing. So if everything does go a bit fucking messed up and you do need some backup, blow this. I'm going to have a few people stationed around about in case we need to like give you a bit of emergency assistance, but only use them if absolutely necessary, because then you'll be putting them in danger as well. But if you need them, they're there. Just give a toot on that. I'm going to have some. He leans in and he's like, "But I've got some likely lads that I'm going to have up on the roofs, on the nearby buildings. They've got short bows. So like, if you guys are trying to make a break for it and you're being followed by the guards or whatever, give a toot on that. They can shoot some arrows at them. It might not do them any great deal of damage, but hopefully it'll distract them long enough that you can peel off and get out of there."
Nice. It'll slow them up.
That's it.
I
Again,
like
a
it.
bit of distraction. See, what this game's about, and you'll find this out. Hopefully, well, maybe if you get more involved with the stuff we do, it's not about what you nick. It's all about making it more fucking trouble than it's worth for the people you've nicked it off to come and get it back. That's what it's all about.
Gotcha. I think my old man used to go on a little bit about that back in the old days.
That's it.
Before he went straight, not straight.
When you say that, he's like, and you see like a little bit of a smile on the corner of his face, and he's like, yeah. And he says, but hopefully, like, and I'm not saying we can't, but hopefully, like, everyone who like starts working with us, they have to like, you have to give a bit and you have to take a bit. You have to like prove you can be trusted and whatnot. So hopefully, if this all goes well, we'll know we can trust you guys, because obviously you're like, if you guys fuck it up, you're in the firing line effectively. But if it all goes well, we'll know we can trust you. And well, if you want to get it involved in any more operations in the future, to make a bit of, then maybe we can sort you out.
Yeah, well, it'll be sweet as a nut. No problem. But if it gets a bit tasty, we've got the whistle.
That's right.
Yeah.
He sort of slaps you on the shoulder, Big Mick, and gives you like a smile, and he says, "Well, you come from a good pedigree. I've got every faith in you, Mick.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm sure you'll do your old man proud."
I will endeavour to. And I'm sure these gentlemen will be good to their word, like I said.
Also,
sorry, go ahead. Yep.
I just a joke about the throat cutting. I'm trying to be more personable. I'll put that knife away.
He's like, oh right, yeah. No. I can understand a bit of gallows humour. No worries about it. But you might want to work on it a bit. But
thanks.
No problem. So he says, look, if I'm not expecting you to work and be a fucking comedian. If you can get a job done, you can be as shit at telling jokes as you fucking like, my friend. Yes, it's the results I'm bothered about. It's like you want to talk to old fucking Morecambe in My Boys. Jeez, fucking hell, he can't tell a joke to save his life, and he's an ex-fucking brewer. You think of fucking someone who used to work in a tavern who'd be able to tell the chat, wouldn't you? Fucking hell, no wonder he ain't got a tavern anymore. bored of fucking pants off a wart goblin he would. But I tell you what, there ain't nothing he don't fucking know about brewing and like fucking vintages and whatnot. So
Yeah.
everyone's got their own special skills. Don't know what your guys are yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. Then he sort of like he puts an arm round sort of like you, Mick, and he sort of like steers you way to one side, and he's like lowers his voice so and really you can hear him, Mick, and he's like, "Your friend, the priest, is he all right with this? Is he on board? Is he?"
Yeah, well, I think so. He's got a big ass sword that lights up into flames. That's one thing I do know. So
All right, fucking hell.
if it goes if it gets a bit messy,
He's
I
like,
wouldn't.
well, I just wanted to check because he's like, I know these religious types. I just wanted to make sure he's not going to get like cold feet halfway through, you know. But yeah,
It's more of a
if you're vouching for him, Mick, I'll take your word. It's fine.
he's more of a street priest, if you know what I mean. You know,
Oh no, no.
he's
Well,
progressive.
not one of them like mentalists who stands on the boxes on a corner of bloody the district, like
Nah,
shouting about fire and brimstone and all that.
he's more about helping out young women in a family way and looking after orphans and stuff like that, and all that sort of stuff. You know, all the helping the poor, giving to the poor, and
Oh, right, you are, bro. Well, like I say, if you vouch for him, that's all good. Anyways, and he sort of like obviously like releases you, Mick turns like the rest of you, and like raising his voice. And he says, "Right, is there anything else you fellas want to ask?"
If I leave,
I don't know about you boys.
if I leave some of my gear here, will it still be here when I get back?
He says, "Look, like I say, at least for the space of this operation, as far as I see it, you're effectively like you're all my boys, and I wouldn't nick off my boys, and any of the boys who tried to nick off us, they'd get hell to pay. So, and
Okay.
you'll get the same courtesy while you're working for us.
Right. I think
At,
might
at,
be
the end,
best.
at the end of this operation, you can take your staff. If you don't want to work with us again, that's fine. We'll part ways. But I promise you, nothing will happen to your staff.
That's good.
Well, if anything does happen to it, it won't be me or my boys that have done it, and fucking they'll have had to have gone through me and my boys to like get to it.
That's good enough for me.
Right, sweet.
Okay.
He's like, right then. Well, time's cracking on a bit. We must be getting close to midnight now, so make whatever preparations you need to, boys, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side when we're all divvying up the loot.
Excellent.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And at that point, before we get into the actual mission, I'm going to suggest we have a short bathroom break / comfort break and refresh your drinks, etc.
Yep.
And when we all come back, we will crack on with the actual heist itself. So we'll see you in a bit.
Okie dokes.
Right, we'll just wait for the other two to get back and then we'll crack on.
Yeah, so I'll be leaving all my good, good clothes. My surcoat, my sword as well, and the belt, and anything that might identify me.
Absolutely fine. Very
Wrap
wise
all that
precaution.
up.
And I will also leave my Cossack and just wear my breastplate.
Okay.
But I will bring the Sword of Gale with me because I cannot bear to be parted from it.
Fair enough.
But I think what I won't call the fire unless things get really desperate. And in fact, I'll probably just use my club unless things get super desperate.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Also, lest we forget, Big Mick also has a tasty new sword.
Indeed.
Yes. That fine gladius.
Indeed. Are you taking said tasty sword with you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Splendid.
I'm not pissing about.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You never know when a little bit of intimidation may be called for, perhaps.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's a swagger opportunity that cannot be ignored.
Okay.
It might be wise to hide your ring, though.
Oh yeah, they might get well jealous about that ring.
Yeah.
Get the old sod out.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point, Friar. That could identify me as it's.
You want to get yourself some knuckle dusters with that Big Mick.
Yeah, Big and Mick.
That's it.
Yeah, I found some knuckle dusters in. What was I? Oh, I think it was in the Black Hack. I found some knuckle dusters.
Yeah, I think I just got that that axe I took off that dude. That killed.
Yeah, you're the dude you respected for his.
Yeah.
Oh, they have them here too. Brass knuckles 1d3. Cheap too. Gold piece.
Cool. Is a club a D4?
D6 plus 1, I think.
Let me just check.
I've got that bone club as well.
Yeah, 1d6 plus 1 for a club, yeah. And they're free.
Like an axe handle or something.
Yeah, that's fine. Not difficult
Nice
to acquire.
piece of hickory.
Clubs are free.
Yeah.
You're in the wood district.
Um,
Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the gladius to your weapon thing, right?
Ah, right.
While we're waiting, so 1d6, okay.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Right.
so
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I have a new spell, a whole person spell.
Okay.
So I'm keen to use that on the merchant himself. So I suggest that when we go into combat, that you focus on the guards more so than him, because I'm hoping this will mean that he won't be able to move.
Again, for the benefits of myself and anyone else who's listening, what effect does the whole person spell have? Obviously, apart from holding people.
So
that cunning spell.
that's kind of it. Holds a single medium-sized or less humanoid target rigidly in place. It is aware and breathes normally, but cannot take any physical action. It can, however, execute pretty mental actions.
So what you're saying, Friar, is that it takes and holds a person.
Yes.
Why they couldn't have named it more clearly, I don't know.
I know, it's really misleading. I hate it when they do stuff like that. You know, it's just not intuitive, is it?
Does the target get any save, and how long does it last?
Yeah, it's a wisdom save.
Okay. And how long does it last for?
4 rounds.
4 rounds. Okay, cool. Just make a note of that. So obviously, depending on what goes on, that might be.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hold that person.
4 rounds. Okay. So we could.
We got any oil? We maybe need some oil.
Well, it won't do you much good. It's not like you can set it on fire and like throw it at it. So. Not unless you get the special oil.
Get some of that shandy Andy oil.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, so it's shortly after midnight. You guys have secreted your boat in the reeds. You've obviously dragged it in. You've thrown some reeds over it. You've camouflaged it. If someone does like a sustained search of the area for some reason, they'll find it. But to a casual observer, they're not going to spot the boat. Where do you guys plan on sort of? How are you guys going to set up the scene? Because you've obviously got like a little plenty of time to set this up before the cart arrives. Before they're in advance.
So I think what we were discussing earlier was we would have one of these carts that was nearby. If we could move it, we would kind of use it to block the road, potentially do some damage to the wheel or take the wheel off so that it looks like the cart is being repaired. And I suggest that one person sits there pretending to fix the wheel, and the rest of us will hide somewhere behind where we would expect the convoy to stop. And as soon as it kind of stops, we'll all jump out, we'll all shout boo, and everyone will run away.
I love your plans affected your mother. Give us your wine.
So and then we grab the wine, leg it to the boat. I don't know
Happy days. Okay, so
it's a plan.
So you're dragging the cart in the way. Since that was your sort of idea, Friar, can you roll me a d6? Okay, so you find one of these many like small carts full of wood, and you start sort of like dragging it in the way of the road. As you're doing that, you see like a man wearing sort of like a worker's apron. He looks a bit bleary-eyed and sleepy. He's like leading like an old donkey up, and he sees you like moving his cart, and he's like, "The bloody hell are you doing with my cart?"
Oh, sorry. I thought this was mine. Sorry, I obviously got confused.
He's like, "Well, yeah, obviously." He's like, "Well, I gotta get out of it." He's like, "I gotta hitch old Daisy here up to the cart and get her away to the workshop." And he sort of leads this donkey over to the cart. And unless you're stopping him, he'll hitch the cart up and he starts like riding off. You allow him to do that. It takes a couple of minutes, and he rides off. There are other carts around. You can easily grab another one. That's fine.
Yeah. So I'll grab another one again, pull it over to the corner. Kind of what I want to do is make sure it's far enough around the corner that they kind of have to get right up to where we are before they see it, so they won't see it from miles away. What I want to try and do is take the wheel off without damaging the cart in any meaningful way, so that whoever owns it isn't out of pocket when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can just effectively unscrew the wheel from the axle and lower it down.
Yeah,
you
that
slide
would
the
be
wheel
my
under
plan.
the cart, and you can easily put it back on afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan, if I'm correct, was one of you guys was going to sit with the cart and make I'm just repairing the wheel, don't mind me. So which of you guys is going to sit with the cart? Who's going to be the man out in the open, so to speak?
I thought I would, because I'm expecting Aloysius to be the driver of the first wagon, and I want to be very close to him so I can see him when the time comes.
Okay.
The only snag, of course, is if we're going to have sacks on our heads, would that mean you would not have a sack over your head?
No, I think because I'll be far enough around the corner that he won't see me until he turns the corner, that I will have a sack on my head. I think.
Yeah, you'll be behind the
okay.
cart, right?
Yeah.
Behind the cart.
So he'll see your body as you're
Yes.
fooling around there.
And I do have 50 feet as well, so for the spell to work. So
have you got a hood or anything you could just have up,
well, I guess if I'm wearing a sack and he looks at me from behind, it will just look like a hood.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it'll be dark as well.
Yeah.
It's obviously because it's raining. It's fairly cloudy. There's also fairly little moonlight shining through tonight.
Oh, right. So it's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty pitch black.
Dark.
And to be honest, if you guys were looking to do anything sort of intricate, it might prove a problem, because obviously once you guys are out of sort of range of sight of each other, it's quite difficult to see if you've not got any lights lit, and obviously presumably you haven't, because a lot of people stood around the lanterns and be a bit sus. But right, so where are the rest of you going to be located? We've got the friar, who's sat with the wrecked cart. What are the rest of you guys going to do?
Is there any elevation?
There are a number of buildings about, sort of one-story buildings.
Yeah. If possible, I would like to clamber up on top of one of those and just sort of lay low, try and stay out of sight.
That's absolutely fine. You're an assassin climbing a building, no problems. You quickly jump up, grab an overhang, heave yourself up onto this one-story building. It's one of those where there's a lip to the roof, so you can sort of lie down below the lip and peer over the side. Okay, so Jackdaw shins up the side of one of these buildings, which is sort of located around about here. Okay.
Yep, that's great.
Where are you locating yourself?
I think I want to be. I want to be situated so that they drive past me, so that I'm behind them, so I'm hidden in the shadows of a building or a bush or.
Right. Well, you can actually see if you look here. There's a lone sort of building there. It looks basically a storage house for water.
Yeah.
You could potentially they'd have to pass that. You could potentially put yourself behind that.
Yeah. And then my plan is then just to sneak up behind them whilst they're distracted and maybe try and lift a bit of something off for the cart or stab them up from behind or something like that.
Are we stabbing now?
Well,
sounded like it.
Well, I was going to try and get the stuff off the cart, but if it goes, if it gets a bit hairy,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Just
I've
an
got Gladius
expression.
and that,
Lieutenant, what about yourself?
If there's any loose bush or tree or pile of rocks, something by the roadside around here, sort of.
Yeah, there's some shrubs around this sort of area.
Right. Yep. In between Big Mick and the friar.
Okay, that's
Just so we've got the back, the front, and the middle with aerial support as well.
okay.
Oh yeah. The helicopter that is
Combined
Jackdaw.
Okay, so you guys have sort of stationed yourself in the positions we've just discussed. It's dark, obviously. It's extremely damp. It's quite cold. There's very little moonlight because of the heavy cloud cover. You can hear like owls hooting and the distant sounds of people talking and moving like carts about and stuff like that coming from Grey Fettle Ward nearby. After 15, 20 minutes, you hear the distant like of horses' hooves on the road. And Big Mick, since you're like the furthest out, you're like the furthest north, as you peer out from behind this barn, you can see what appeared to be two wagons, fairly sturdy looking wagons. Each of them has two horses fastened to it. Each of them has a man sat on the front of it holding the reins, and on the back of each of these carts is what appears to be two men wearing plate armor. They're sort of stood on like a little like footman's ramp on the back, so each of them holding a spear, and sort of one hand holding the back of the cart, one hand holding the spear.
That's a bit tasty.
You can see them sort of like looking around as the carts are rumbling forward. You make me a wisdom roll, Big Mick.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. The first cart sort of rumbles past where you are, and obviously you're waiting a little bit because you said you wanted to get behind both of them. As the second cart rumbles past, you can see that both of the carts have, like, the little windows with like the little curtains on that you get on some carriages. As the second cart starts rumbling past, you see the curtains twitch, and you briefly see what appears to be like quite a sort of chubby looking face looking out through the like twitching the curtains and like peering out. And then the sort of hand goes out and pulls the curtains, but you have like a brief impression of like gold rings on the fingers as he goes shh, and shuts the curtains.
So that may well be the merchant.
The carts continue to rumble past you.
And any sign of the expensive cargo?
Not that you can see, but obviously you can't see inside the carts because they're like closed tops, sort of like carriage carts rather than like your open tops of carts. They look, like I say, very sturdy and also very expensive, which doesn't surprise you because this is supposedly some rich merchant.
Yeah.
The carts continue past you.
Okay. So possibly our man's in the second one,
Quite possibly.
but they are well tooled up. These dudes. Did they have any? Did I see any crossbows or anything like that?
You didn't see any crossbows. They appeared to be armed with spears. They may have like smaller arms, like daggers, etc. But you can't really see at this distance. But you can definitely see the spears they're holding. But you guess since they've got one hand on the cart, they're probably not going to go like that and like far across.
Yeah, no, right, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Meanwhile, Jackdaw, stationed on the building, you can just see the carts like approaching now. You glance over to your right, and on like a building next to you, you can see sort of hunched down on one knee, wearing a dark jerkin with a hood pulled up over his face, is a figure. The figure appears to be like holding a short, sort of like down on one knee, holding a short bow down near the roof of the building. As this figure sort of sees you looking at it, it goes.
Yeah, I'll I'll mimic the gesture. I don't have a. Well, I guess do have my hood on. Also, I've wrapped my hands on my face in my many and numerous scarves. So I'm like a mummy, but it's dark. So
Yep.
but yeah, I'll do like a little motion towards the short bow individual,
Yeah,
and
the figure turns back and you can see it's sort of like watching the wagon, has an arrow sort of notched in the short bow, like ready in case it's needed.
yep. I take out one of my knives to if we need it. So I'll be prepping to strike alongside him.
No problems. Okay, Lieutenant Buffington, secreted behind this sort of like small bush that you're hidden in, you see the carts approaching your position because you're the second furthest out. Now, before we get to what the lieutenant sees, Big Mick, are you sort of peeling around behind them? What are you sort of doing?
Yeah, so as soon as I think they're far enough away not to sort of notice my movements, I'm gonna trail them,
Okay. Now, given
like
that
sneaking
it's,
from cover to cover.
yeah, given that it's pitch black, you're a rogue, and the carts are making a lot of noise, which will cover your footfalls. I'm not going to ask you to make a roll for that. They're focused on the road ahead. They're not looking for some
Yeah.
like guy just like behind them. So until you actually like need to act, you're golden basically.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Nice.
So, Lieutenant, obviously you can't see Mick either in the dark, sort of following after these, sort of creeping from shadow to shadow, but you can see these two carts heading past the bush that you're hidden. You can see the plate armour of the two people on the back of each cart as they're sort of holding their spears and like gripping onto the back of the cart.
Brings a wry smile to my face. But I'll slowly pull my legs up under myself, getting ready to sprint.
Okay, no problem. You are ready and prepped. The carts continue a short way ahead of where you are, Lieutenant, and then they obviously, as they're getting nearer to the cart that you're sort of crouched down by, Friar, they spot the cart, and the driver on the first carriage says, "Whoa, hold up, something in the road ahead!" And you hear like the driver shout back in response, and he like pulls his horses to a stop. He leans down off the cart and he's like, "Who's that in the road there?"
So I just ignore him.
Yeah, you hear one of the soldiers, for such you assume them to be, given their armour, say, "Do you want us to go and check it out?" He's like, "Nah, probably just someone shook the wheel or something. I'll go and clear him off the road." And the driver from the first cart jumps down and he starts walking up and he's like, "You all right there?"
Yeah. So is there a light on the cart, or is it still pitch black totally?
It's still, there is like a small lantern like hitched to the front of each cart, but it's only a very small lantern, like sending out like a little light so they can just see the road ahead of them. As he's sort of heading towards you, he's like stepping into the darkness. That's why he's like shouting you, because he can't really see you. He can just go, "I think there's a cart and a dude there." And he's like, "You all right there, fella?"
So as soon as he kind of comes around the cart out of sight of the soldiers, what I really want to do is just kind of jump up and grab him by the throat and put him up against like the cart, kind of real aggressive, and just say that this would be a good night to be somewhere else.
Okay.
So
I'm going to say grabbing him's not a problem. It's dark. He's not expecting you to suddenly grab him. What I'm going to say is make me a charisma roll, because obviously he's presumably also pretty like scared of his employer. So it's whether he becomes more scared of you or he's more scared of the merchant. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so you sort of grab it. So you grab him. What do you say to him? You've got him sort of pinned up against the cart outside of the soldiers.
So really, I'm just kind of staring at him intently and going, tonight would be a good night to be somewhere else.
It's like, whoa, I haven't got any money on me. What do you want?
I want you to...
I'm the driver.
Yes. Be a driver somewhere else. And I'm going to point towards, away from where we are. Just keep going, and no harm will come to you.
He nods and he like disappears off into the darkness, sort of running away as fast as his legs will carry him.
So then I'm basically going to just kind of continue to hide a bit and see what the guards do next.
Okay.
I'd like
so
to have and also continue to intensely scrutinize one of the plate armored individuals,
I
John.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after a few minutes, the two guards jump down off the footplate to the back of the carriage, and they start walking around. You hear one of them go, "What the bloody hell's he got to?"
Okay, I think that might be my cue.
Go and
Oh.
check over by the cart, Ronald.
So when I hear them, what I would like to do is start preparing a spell to go off.
Well, since we're effectively sort of going into actual like rounds now, it's probably a good idea to do the initiative. So break out those classic D10s, boys.
Yep, boy.
It's a 7 for the NPCs.
The old classic D10. D10 initiative.
Some things never change.
Yep.
It's an 8 for
You
that
just
roll.
gotta
It's a
you
10
just
for
gotta
that.
change that rule, man. Make sure that you've got that totally unique system.
That's it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, actually, it's 4, 3 plus 1. Sorry.
It's all right,
Oh,
no problems.
do you gotta get a +1 for Dex? Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so it's going to be Fry Dunstan going first. Like I say, these sort of guys have jumped off and they're like walking around the cart to try and find out what's happened to the driver. You can hear the like clank of they're pretty easy to know where they are because you hear the like clank of their armour as they're walking.
So basically, what I want to do is I want to cast a command spell
Okay.
and order them to flee.
Okay, no problems. So I'm just going to make a couple of rolls for them for their charisma save. So here we go.
Is that the old classic command spell where you give them a command fire?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
No, not that one. It's different to that.
Oh,
Okay, so you hold out your hand towards him, channeling the power of your deity, and you command them to sleep. There's a loud clanging of metal as the two of them just literally like drop to the floor in like all their armour. As they like, fall to the floor in the plate there, and then like a few seconds later, there's like as they fall asleep.
Okay.
nice.
How long does that last for?
It's only a round.
Okay, so that's Fry Dunstan. So I don't know why it skipped past yours, Big Mick, but it's you next. So you, as you've sort of crept up behind them and you're sort of peering around, you've seen the driver disappear off into the darkness. You don't know what the fuck's happened to him. However, you've also seen the two guards sort of jump out, and you go, "Oh, where's he bloody got to?" Like walking around the thing. Then you suddenly hear this like, and these two guards just like fall to the ground.
I'm just wondering if I could rush up and maybe bind them guys so that when they come round, they're tied up.
You could certainly bind one of them. However, if you're going to rush up, you'd have to make a dex roll to like get past the second cart, because obviously they might see you running past with like your rope.
Yeah.
You can certainly give it a go though if you want, but you wouldn't have time to bind both of them in a round.
No. I could blow it though. But I feel like I need to give it a go.
Good lad.
So that is what I will do.
So make your dex roll. Don't forget you get to add your level to it because it's a rogue thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Kushti. Okay. So you sneak past the second cart, blending in with the shadows. You've got your rope with you. Pretty soon you draw level with the first cart. Fryer and Big Mick, you can now both see each other because of the little lantern on the front cart. You've got your rope. You can see these two guards like sort of lying like spread eagled in the plate now. You can see they're just starting to like stir a little bit, but obviously they're not going to like wake up until the end of the round. But yeah, you've got a chance to bind one of them if you wish.
Yep.
Okay, so you head to the nearest one, and you quickly sort of like tie his legs together, like tie his arms behind his back, that sort of deal.
Yeah.
He's incapacitated, and unless he spends like a bit of time working his way free, or like makes a strength roll or whatever, or someone helps him, he's incapacitated.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so Jackdaw, from your perch on top of the roof, you've seen the friar cast his suggestion, causing two of the guards to fall asleep. Then that big Mick's just like appeared out of the shadows as if from nowhere with a rope and like quickly like hog-tied this one dude.
Quick Mick.
That's it.
Quick, Mick.
Yeah. Can I see the lieutenant from where I am?
Not really, because he's like crouched behind a bush.
Yeah. Because I'm like Jackdaw's weighing his options, because now like this is kind of unexpected, like the ease with which the friar just dispatched these people. So I think Jackdaw's going to forego the advantage of having the perch, at least for the moment, and he's going to jump down and go to the unbound guard.
Okay.
Is it any way possible for me to like knock him out, as to
he's pretty much at your mercy. So
you
could kill him, you can knock him out, whatever. You can't resist.
Because does this person have a helm? Yeah. So it's one of those moments where like Jackdaw like jumps down basically on top of this guy, like pulls up the helm a bit so that he can see like the throat, and then the knife like halfway descends, and then he is like, shit, they did say like don't kill if it's not necessary. So he flips the helm off entirely and just like hits this guy a couple of times in the head to knock him out.
You pull the helm off, sort of flip the knife round in your hand, and sort of batter him on the head with the handle of the knife. And knock him out. He's gonna have like a massive bruise, but as an assassin, you know where to hit, so it won't kill him. And then you just like pop the helmet back on, basically.
Yeah, it's like
he's out.
There you go. Yep.
You probably won't be able to take it off in the morning.
No, it's just like, oh shit.
Okay, so it's the NPC's turn. Obviously, Sleeping Beauty's still out and he's tied up. The other guy's knocked out. However, the guards on the back carriage obviously are wondering what the hell's going on. They've heard the clang of the armoured bodies falling to the floor, so they're going to jump off the back cart and start heading around. They're not going to be able to get to you this round, so the back cart's some way back, but you can hear the sounds of them sort of like walking towards your position. So that's their action. Okay, so Lieutenant Uffington, from your hidey hole, you've seen your team with uncanny efficiency dispatch those two guards, but you can see the clanking forms of these two other guards like walking up to find out what's going on, what all the noise is about.
Are they walking down the same side, or have they split up?
They're split up going down either side.
Oh, that's good then. I shall sprint, break from my position, sprint softly, footly as possible, and holding my baseball bat, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Around the back of the head.
Make your attack roll.
Okay, this is where it goes wrong, isn't it? Here we go.
Oh, or not.
Damn! Okay, roll your damage.
Okay, that is... oh, my bad, it's the second one, isn't it? There we go.
Okay, yeah, if you wish, you can knock him out or kill him. It's up to you.
Yeah, I imagine it sort of hears me at the last moment, turns around, and then this just sees this big piece of wood coming towards his face, and doink.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. As you run out, so as you get level with him, you like scuff your foot on the ground, and as he turns around, going, "What the bloody!" Yeah, smash him round the face with this bit of wood. He goes, and he just carries on going and hits the deck. Again, there's a loud clang of his plate armour.
Sorry, mate.
Okay. So we move on to Friar Dunstan.
What is the driver of the second cart doing?
He's there and he's like, what's going on?
Okay, so he's not in there yet.
He seems to be staying with the cart.
Okay, and is the second guy within 25 feet of the driver? Okay, so then I would like to command both of them to go sleep as well.
Okay, no problem. Let me just make their saves. Okay, the driver falls asleep. The guard, however, is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we move on to Big Mick. The guy you've sort of like hog-tied is starting to like come round, and he's like, oh, fuck it up, get on it. Starts like shouting basically.
Yeah, I'm not into him shouting. I'm gonna get a bit of rag or something and stuff it in his boat race.
That's absolutely fine. He's like, hey, what's gonna?
Oh, shut the fuck! Shut your mouth, you twat.
Yeah, no problem. You jam some like greasy rag into his mouth and like.
Yeah, and I'm just looking for a way onto the carriage, like if there's a door or something, maybe make some inroads into getting some of the swag.
Yeah, there's like a side door on the front carriage.
Yeah, jump up, whip out the old crowbar, and start trying to bust out the lock or something or whatever.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Now you can, if you want to do this quickly, you'll need to make a roll. If you're going to take more time about it, you won't have to, but obviously it'll take more time.
Yeah, I think I want to push on with it.
Okay, so make a dex roll. You can add your level to it, obviously.
Okay. Oh, crap. Yep. Sweet. So 14.
Okay, yeah, not a problem.
Oh no, crap! It don't work like that. What do you need? It's high and low, isn't it? In this. Too?
Yeah, normally you'd need like over a 15. But to be honest, since it's not like a particularly amazing lock, because they've got guards, so it's fine. You pop the lock off it, no problems. The door creaks open, and you'll have a chance to explore that next round. So we move on to Jackdaw.
Alrighty then. So Mick's working on the cart itself.
Yeah, he's popped the lock on the front cart, and he's just like opened the door, ready to like go in.
Yep. So there's one more guard somewhere in the darkness stomping around.
That's right.
Yeah, from the second cart.
Yeah. Can't really see him. I'm ill-equipped to get at him, so I guess at the moment Jackdaw is gonna, because if Mick breaks the lock, he's gonna go and see if he can start jacking some of the stuff inside.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So you head towards the wagon that Mick has opened the door on. You can obviously, Q, I'm going to spend time opening the door. You can get inside if you want. You can see inside there are what appear to be a number of wooden crates. You pop the lid off one of them. They appear to have bottles of wine in. They've got labels on them, but the writing is in a strange sort of like curly, like foreign script that you don't understand. And if you would like to roll me 2d20.
I can. Certainly. 6 and 17.
Okay. So, as you're looking around, you can see there are 23 bottles of wine in all in here.
All right, and that would be how many crates?
Well, it's normally like 12 to a case
Yeah.
traditionally, isn't there?
Depending
So,
on how big, like if this is like luxury shit, it might
Yeah,
be.
it might be.
there's a couple of cases. One has 12 in, the other has like 11 in.
Yeah. Right. So I'll shove them towards the like the end of the cart, and I'll get one and get it outside the cart if I can manage all that in one turn.
Yeah, I think with Big Mick there helping, you can manage that because you're both sort of in the. I know it's not strictly initiative, but you're both in the cart, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, now before we move on to the next thing, Mick, Big Mick. So let me find the appropriate table. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, can you roll me a D100, please, Mick? $52. Okay. Okay, Jackdaw, if you can please roll me a D100 as well.
We've ended up in the Stygian library.
The books are coming for you.
The books are not the books, anything but the
73.
Okay.
Them books
Yeah,
were
if it's the
nasty.
books, I have the HP now to survive them.
They were nasty, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Jackdaw's like moving these crates down, and sort of you're helping him make, getting ready to like move them out, you see there appears to be a small sort of blue box that was like tucked down in the corner behind the two crates. It's like a small sort of like blue like velvet box, effectively. Only about that sort of size.
Right. I wonder what that's all about. There's definitely something a little bit shifty about this whole thing. I suppose we want to swipe it at some point. I mean, can I point it out to Jackdaw, or do I
Yeah.
need to grab it?
You pointed out to Jackdaw, that's fine.
Jackdaw, look. Box there, look.
I'll swipe it.
Yeah, it feels fairly light. You like took it into your pocket. Happy days, no problems. Okay, we're going to move on to the NPCs. Okay, Lieutenant, you hear a loud clanking as the remaining guard has sort of rounded the corner, and obviously like seeing you like his mate to the face. He comes running towards you with his spear out, and he's going to launch an attack at you. I'm guessing your AC is higher than 8.
Yep.
Okay, so he lunges out with his spear, but in the darkness he sort of misjudges the distance a bit, and the spear sort of stops like a couple of inches away from you as he sort of goes like that. And then it's your response, Lieutenant.
Yeah, leave it out, mate. And I'll bash your spear to one side and try and brain him as well.
Go for it.
You didn't learn that move in the army, did ya? I'm doing voices, by the way. Oh, So
Can you see that? Can you see that sweet guardsman art there?
That's it.
Well,
Indeed.
couple of likely lads. Look.
Okay, so you swing your club at this guy, but he brings his arm up to deflect it, and like the armor takes the brunt of the blow, sort of jars his arm a bit, but doesn't really cause him any major damage.
Question: Is he level 1 or less?
He is indeed.
May I try and take him down with my backhand?
You most certainly can.
It's just like it's not even an attack. You just go.
He's a backhander. I'll give you that. You'll feel the back of my hand, lad.
Yeah, get out of it.
Yeah, you just slap him and he dies.
Okay. Unfortunately, you do
probably
like
not
slap
gonna do
him across the face, but he like turns his face with the blow, so he doesn't like really take any damage from it. So you sort of like you bring your club in, he blocks it, you bring your other hand around to punch him, but he turns his face, and your fist just sort of skims off the side of his cheek.
You're a tough geezer, aren't you?
Okay. Fry Dunstan.
So having heard this altercation, I will walk around to where I can see the guard attacking the lieutenant, and I'll point my finger at him and go, "Hold still," and that'll be a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Okay, he stops moving. So yeah.
Okay, and then
So Lieutenant, you see the Fry jump out, and he's like, "Hold still, stop in the name of love." And this guy's just like, he's just sort of gone like that, and then he just literally stops as though he's frozen.
okay, that'll be 4 rounds. So then I would like to walk towards the second carriage.
Yep.
And I don't know how far I'll get, but if I can get far enough to open the door, I'd like to open the
You won't be able
door.
to get far enough to open the door on this
Fine.
round. But
Okay.
the next round you'll be able to.
Yeah.
Okay. So Big Mick.
I think I'm gonna kind of just try and unload some more swag. Anything that Jackdaw's passed down to me, maybe shunt it over off into the bushes. Just kind of do that unloading business.
Yeah, that's fine. You can quickly offload it into the boat if you want. Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spend your turn doing that. Jackdaw.
What happened? Sorry, I think I might have missed. What happened with the driver of the second cart? What's up with
The
him?
driver with the second cart was put to sleep for a round.
Right.
By the Friar. Obviously, he will be like waking up at the end of this round. Well, so
All right,
on the NPC's turn.
Yeah. I've pushed the stuff where Big Mick has been unloading them, so I'll bolt towards the second cart,
Yeah, that's fine.
and I wonder what's going on with the guard, frozen mid dance,
Yeah, exactly.
and I'll go to the driver.
You can see he's just sort of like.
Yep.
Sort of-
Flip out the knife.
Yep.
Double tap in the head.
Yeah, you're just like. And he.
Yeah. And I think that's probably my turn then.
Indeed, it is. Okay, so we're going on to the NPC's turn. Okay, obviously the driver's out. The guard that's frozen. I'll chalk off a round for him, but he's still frozen. There's suddenly a loud as the door of the second carriage is booted open, and a large figure, again clad in plate mail armor, holding like a big sword, sort of steps out of it, and you hear a like a slightly panicked voice from inside going, "They're trying to rob us, man! Get out there and protect the cops! That's what I pay you for!" And you see this like huge figure emerging out with this sword. Okay, he is going to step out. The first person he'll see will be the lieutenant, so he's going to swing this double-handed sword towards the lieutenant.
The old Zweihander.
Indeed, he's carrying this huge book that he's going to knock you out with.
Yeah.
Boom! Take 800 pages of hit point damage there, boy.
That's it, man.
Whoosh!
You're going to know when you get hit by that bad boy.
Feel the pain.
Okay, is your AC above 11?
It is.
Okay, so luckily if he swings this huge double-handed sword down, you like throw yourself backwards. It whistles like just down the front of you. You feel the air displaced as it sweeps down past your face, and the force of the blow, it literally sinks into the soil. But you see, this guy must be like really strong because it like, immediately like rips it out of the soil and sort of brings it up. But obviously, that's his action for the round.
Wow.
But you get a chance to respond, Lieutenant.
Okay. Stepping quickly. And yeah, return the favour. Only hitting, I hope. Just gonna go.
Okay, you swing your club at him. He brings, with a practice move, he brings up his sword and parries it. There's a loud like as your club impacts with this like double-handed sword he's holding. You can just see through like the visor of his helmet that's down. You can see like these eyes like narrowed as he's like the muscles like bulging as he's sort of like parrying your blow. Okay, Fry Dunstan. Obviously, you couldn't hear this like combat going on.
Okay, so I. How far away am I from the altercation with the lieutenant?
About 10 foot.
Okay.
You could easily reach it.
So what I would like to do is cast my sound burst in such a way that it gets the guard without getting the lieutenant, if that's at all possible.
Yeah, that should be possible. Okay, so remind me again how that works. I know I ask you every time.
It's a 1d8 damage, and then it's just a question of which saving throw it is to not be prone.
Okay. So rolling damage.
Here we go. Uh, 6 points of damage.
Okay.
Successful wisdom saving throw or to avoid being stunned for 1 round.
Okay. He doesn't fall as this burst of sound sort of like vibrates out from you. However, he does sort of stagger backwards. You see his head sort of like he's trying to shake his head a little bit. He is stunned for the rest of the round.
Okay.
Okay, Big Mick, you see this like mountainous figure in plate armor as there's this of sound. He lets out like a little cry and he staggers back a little.
Okay, can I just sort of give him the large swerve and get round, like outflank him and head towards the door that he come out of?
Yeah, you can certainly head towards the door of the carriage. That's not a problem.
Yeah, avoiding the meathead with the sword.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I say, he's a bit stunned and he's sort of reeling back a little bit, trying to shake his head to clear it. So he's not going to be able to like attack you or anything as you head past him.
Yeah. Can I get in the car, in the carriage or anything?
You can't get in the car, but you're out the doorway.
Yeah.
So you're over by
Okay.
the boat. So you run across the door and you find yourself looking at this like fat sort of merchant with like gold rings on his finger, and he's holding a crossbow pointing it at the door.
Fucking hell.
As he's obviously just like
Easy,
his crossbow,
Tiger.
and he's like, "Oh, if anyone comes through that door who's not wearing plate armor, they're getting it."
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, you won't be able to fire him to the NPC still. He's just like,
Right.
okay.
Well, I can shout at him,
Yeah, good.
can't I? I say, Albean, put that weapon down. That's frightfully antagonistic.
Yeah, that's great.
Jackdaw. So quite bizarrely, as far as you're concerned, Jackdaw, you see Big Mick run up to this carriage, like the doors that's still flapping open with this big figure booted his way out. Then you hear him go, "I say, Bean, put down that weapon. That's frankly antagonistic."
Would the right honourable gentleman put down the crossbow? So there's the flamberge.
Yeah, he's sort of staggering backwards like.
Yeah. I want to get out my club,
Yep.
get around to the back of him,
Okay.
and just do a big overhand
Okay.
whack.
Make your attack roll.
So this is like bonus city over here because he's stunned. I'm doing my assassin thing, so this isn't a death attack, but it just might be.
You don't have to make any rolls to sneak up or whatever, because like I say, he's stunned. So
Yep.
it's just a successful sneak attack.
Yep.
Whatever.
So here we go. Yeah. How do I do this again? So that, and then that. Okay. So here goes. Come on, buddy. No, with those bonuses, no. Of course it's a miss. Like why would it hit?
So you run up behind him, ready to like batter him on the back of the head. But just as you do that, he actually like staggers and falls down to one knee, sort of on his sword, like as he's dazed, and you sort of like and just miss him as he falls down to the ground.
Yeah, I just brutalize the air.
Yeah. Okay, so the NPCs. Okay, this huge figure sort of shakes off being dazed, but he's not going to get to attack this round. But he like stands up off one knee and he like swings this sword around, like basically like ready to go. But obviously he's not going to be able to attack this round because of the spell. Okay, Big Mick, you are getting shot at by a crossbow.
Dodge, man.
Let me just check what the stats are for a crossbow. So I don't know what the damage is.
Duck and cover.
I'm sure it won't be that much. Nah, only D6. Okay, he hits you for 4 damage.
You're muted, by the way.
That silent cry pain. He's like,
Hits him in the mouth.
Ah! Yeah, hits him in the throat.
okay, so this crossbow bolt goes and hits you in the shoulder, and you feel like warm blood start to seep down under your jerkin. And you can see like the merchants obviously like trying to grab another crossbow bolt. He doesn't exactly look like he's a sort of hardened combateer, though. He's like, okay, Lieutenant.
I'll try again to brain this fella.
Okay, go for it.
Between us, we should get him, shouldn't we, Jackdaw?
Okay, unfortunately not.
Maybe not.
He seems to have recovered enough. He's still a bit groggy, but as you aim your club at him, he just like swings his sword and deflects your blow.
Yeah.
Again, there's another loud as he deflects your club. You can see it was quite a clumsy swing, but he just basically swung his sword like that and knocked your club out of the way. So, Friar Dunstan.
Okay, so so what I would like to do, if I can, is race to the second cart, pull out the fat merchant, kind of stand behind him like, you know, holding the hostage, arm around the neck, kind of squeezing a bit, and then call at the guard to surrender. And if he does that, him and his master can leave and we're finished.
Okay, so obviously the merchant's going to be struggling so that you can't grab him, so you're going to need to make me a strength roll.
Okay. 12.
Okay, so you're trying to grab hold of him, but he's struggling and sort of writhing out of your grasp. So basically, the friar leaps on board the second cart, and there's a bit of a tussle sort of back and forth between him and the merchant. The good side is, obviously, while he's tussling with you, he's not going to be able to reload his crossbow and like offload another bolt into Big Mick. And speaking of Big Mick, the man, the legend.
I'm gonna steam in there, grab that crossbow off him, and like be batting him with the butt of it, like fucking shoot me, you bastard! Boom, boom.
Okay, make your attack
mess you
roll.
up, boom, and then I'll give it a few digs and a few slaps. Give him a kick in the nuts.
Make your attack roll. I'm going to give you a +2 bonus because he's already sort of tussling with the friar, so he's not really expecting you to like barrel into him.
Yeah, fucking shoot me. I'm gonna mess you up, fool. Right, once I rolled a die. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, boy! East, get fuck. Have some of that.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So
Get a few slaps,
roll me a
as they
D6.
say. Oh dear.
Brilliant.
therefore.
Okay, so you basically smash him in the side of his face with the crossbow. He staggers and almost falls. He's still sort of going, but he's sort of now just sort of going like that, trying to defend himself. So obviously, if you
Giving
carry
him
on
some
trying to,
hardcore verbal abuse.
yeah. So basically, if the friar tries to grab him again, you'll get a bonus to that friar because he's now like, oh, this was hit me in the side of the face. Okay, so Jackdaw, obviously you can hear all this commotion going on in the second car. You can hear this voice going, "Oh, fucking shoot me, will ya? Give you some fucking slaps." As Big Mick's like curb stomping this merchant.
Yeah, secretly I'm proud. Yeah, he's a good boy. So Flamberge over here.
Indeed.
I will try and just constantly maneuver so that I'm behind him. If he's facing me, then that's not possible, obviously. But
Okay, but because he's aware now, you will need to make like a dex roll to sort of get yourself into the right position.
yeah.
But you can add your level to it 'cause it's a roguey thing, obviously. Well, assassin thing.
The thing here being, I don't think I can use my sneak attack anymore. What I'm angling for is the +2 bonus for hitting him in the back.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, my mistake.
Yeah, no, look,
you can
that's
certainly have that +2
yeah.
bonus because you engage
Yeah.
with the lieutenant.
Yeah, that's the only thing, because I blew my chance with the massive bonuses last turn.
Yeah, go for it with the +2 then.
Yep. So here goes with the club again, emboldened by Mick's splendid display apparently back there. Here we go. Yeah, boy.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, roll your damage.
Middling.
Okay, so you've done a little bit of damage. He's still standing. He's effectively like on half hit points now. So describe how your attack takes place.
I think because last time I did the big overhand thing and I missed, so I'm probably like on one knee in the mud, just be like fuck, and then I'll just lunge forward and hit him in the back of the leg, so he's kind of
He like
shit.
staggers forward a little bit.
Yeah.
You, like, hit him in the back of the kneecap, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so NPCs. Right. He is going to attack you again, Lieutenant. Is your AC 17 or?
No, it's 15. He's
Okay,
got
in
to
which
be
case he hits you for 8 hit points of damage.
both.
I would have been dead.
How's the old health looking for the lieutenant at the moment?
I'll find it. Not there, not there. Oh, where is it? Oh, I've lost it. I'm looking pretty beat up.
Okay, so he swings this sword round and he delivers a vicious, deep slice across your midriff, diagonally down from your shoulder to your waist. You feel warm blood running from the thick cut and the pain spreading out in your chest. Okay, the merchant in the wagon, he's going to try and just punch you in the face for he's given up trying to load the crossbow because he's been attacked by 2 guys, so he's just like, oh, you were the one who was like directly in front of me. Okay, so let me make his no doubt pitiful attack roll. he swings like a chubby fist towards you with all these like gold rings on, and you're basically just like knock his fist out of the way, just like with the backhand.
A flaccid swipe.
Yeah, you're literally just like, nah, mate. You can see this guy's obviously like quite badly out of condition. He's like a rich, pampered merchant. He's not a warrior of any sort. He's just like. Okay, so Lieutenant, smarting from your injuries, this mountainous figure in plate armor with this Zweihänder is stood in front of you.
Okay. Well, to avoid lifting up and possibly hurting myself even more, I'll do an upswing. Try and get him under the chin. Snap his head back. Hopefully. Go. Oh.
Okay, that's not enough, unfortunately. Okay, you swing your club up towards him, and he basically, like, as you're sort of going like that, ready to come with your club, he just like steps on your club with like all of his weight, so you can't bring it up. Okay, Fry Dunstan, you can still obviously hear like the clang and the combat going on outside, and this merchant's like,
Okay, so again, what I want to do is kind of grab him outside the cart, put pressure on his neck, and then call out to the guard. So let me see how this goes.
yeah, +2.
17.
That'll do it. Okay, so you've grabbed the merchant, you've got him by the scruff of the neck.
So I'm just going to go haul out to the guard. You can't get paid if he's dead. Drop your sword. Let's see what he does.
Game over, man.
The guard doesn't seem to react, but like, the merchant's like trying to say something to you, but like you've like got him around the neck. So it's like,
Okay, so I loosen my grasp a little to see what he's saying.
he's like, he doesn't speak Havenlander.
Okay. Cool. You call out to him then. Tell him to stop.
Okay, he calls out to him in a rather sort of brutish sounding, rolling language, and he just calls out like a couple of words. You're not sure what he's saying. However, the large figure outside, he doesn't drop his sword. However, he does sort of like, he turns it down and like sinks it a little bit into the soil, so he's not like attacking the lieutenant anymore.
Okay. So then once that happens, I'll start calling out for everyone else to start loading up the stuff and be gone. And I guess I'll have Mick give the second carriage the once over to see is there anything of value in it.
Yep. I'll give it a rifle through, scope it.
Okay, there are another 17 bottles of this strange wine in the second wagon. There's also what appears to be a mahogany box that's about this sort of size with like bronze hinges on it.
Okay, swipe that as well.
As you pick up this box, there's a bit of a weird smell coming from it, like damp soil.
Okay.
I'll swipe that crossbow and all whilst I'm here.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You've got a crossbow.
Okay, so what I'll do then, assuming that everyone else has kind of disappeared around the guard towards the river, is I will kind of maneuver my way with my hand around his neck to where my back is to the river, and I will kind of back away towards the river.
You see the large plate-mouthed figure is like turning his head, he's like keeping his eye on you, although he's like still holding his sword pointed down into the soil.
So I will also then ask the merchant to give me his rings and his purse.
He says, "Oh, but please, not my rings. You've already taken all of my wares. This is all I have."
I will cut off your balls and feed them to you.
I should say that.
So I'll take his rings and his purse, and then I will kind of push him down into dirt and disappear into the dark.
Incidentally, the note has fallen from my pocket. Accidentally.
I understand.
So just before I go, I'll whisper in his ear to repent for his sins, and then I'll push him into the dirt and turn around and run away towards the river.
Yeah, you push him into the into the dirt and start running to the river. What are the rest of you guys doing as you see like the friar and make for the boat?
I'll just get a big old. I'll just hook up a big and fire that into his face as I go by.
That's fine.
Lift up the sack enough just to spit it out.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, well, legging it back to the boat.
Yeah, I think it's skedaddle time.
Okay, you all start running back towards the boat. The instant the merchant is away from you, the tall armoured figure hefts his sword and starts running after you.
Let's see if you can swim in that.
So I'm going to ask each of you, can you please make me a dex roll? Damn!
Woo.
Okay, by the time the rest of you guys have got back to the boat, the lieutenant's in a tower. He's just sat on his feet and like, wonder what took you so long, chaps. Okay, so I'm going to make a dexterity roll for this guy. Basically, if he beats your roll, he's caught up with you pretty much. Okay, so what happens is Jackdaw, well, Lieutenant, you make it to the boat like rapid. You are like in that boat, like getting yours ready. You are like good to go. Like
I've been hit by that sword.
Yeah, you're like gesturing for the others to sort of come after you. Mick,
He's gaining on you! Run!
Mick and Jackdaw dive into the boat like almost simultaneously. However, he's going to catch up with you and get an attack against you, Friar. So he's basically going to like swipe at your back as you're running. Okay, he swings, presumably doesn't hit you on an 8.
No.
Okay.
Is he wearing a...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'll say, however, he's now like pretty much sort of like within combat distance to you. So if you like keep running away, he's just going to like keep pace and like.
Yeah. Okay, so is he wearing a helmet?
He is, yeah.
Okay, so what I would like to do is cast light on the front of his helmet and try and blind him.
Okay, nice. So there's specific mechanics for that, or are you just freestyling it?
I don't know if there are mechanics for that. Sorry, I kind of freestyling it. It's often a saving throw against going blind for, but I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, so he basically staggers backwards. So I'm going to say he's going to pull his helmet off and not throw it on the ground. But that's obviously going to take him a bit of time. So I'm going to give you another dex roll to see if you can like, make it to the boat before he recovers.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so unless I somehow get a 22, you're grand. Natural 20. Okay, so what I'm going to say, obviously you have still beaten him on a 22. So what happens is like he throws the helmet off almost instantly, just like rips it off his head, and you can see this like brutish, scarred face underneath. He comes charging towards you, and literally you jump into the boat just as his hands like reaching out to grab you. You land in the boat. He's literally stood next to the boat. He's like lifting his sword up, obviously planning to like bring it down on the boat, because like you're in the boat now, and he's stood at the side. So you guys, you can see him stood next to the boat. He's going like this. What are you going to do? So obviously, even if you start rowing, you're not instantly going to be like.
So I will
shank him in the gut.
Throw the club.
I have a buckler of sorts, so I will kind of use my buckler as best I can to kind of stop him hitting the boat and call for the lieutenant to start rowing. Okay. And I guess.
So what I'll do is
I'll also.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll say what I'll do is I'll do one more attack roll for him against you, because you're like deliberately trying to deflect it on you, and then once that's done, you'll be, whether it hits you or not, you'll be like out of there, because the lieutenant's like, because those ridiculous rolls you got early for rowing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me do his attack roll. Okay, he hits you for 11 damage.
Ouch.
So you hold up your buckler. He brings his sword down with such force that it splits your buckler in half and like slices deeply into your arm. Like the two bits of the buckler just like fall to the ground, and you feel your arm go numb as this huge cut opens up in it. And then,
Okay.
like obviously, presumably like Big Mick and Jack around the lieutenant are like, and you zip off down the river, and you can see this huge like plate figure sort of watching you disappear into the distance. Obviously, he knows he can't swim in plate armor. Once you're out of his way, he knows he's got no chance of keeping up with you. So you see him sort of like he watches you as you like disappear into the distance, and then after you're a safe distance away, you can just about make out him walking back over towards the merchants.
He's an interesting character. So I guess what I'll do is
I'll be gesturing rudely in the background.
I'm going to try and heal myself for 4 points of damage, which is not great, but it will do. Jeez, that was some smack. Okay. So I guess we should head for the rendezvous and hope that these crowds don't betray us. But maybe let's open the boxes so that we know what's in them before we hand them over. And maybe we should just share the wine, I'll suggest subtly to Big Mick. And
So we get trash on the water too.
Seems to be the done thing.
I guess at least on the way back, me and Mick will take a gander in the boxes that we have.
Yeah, there's a little mahogany one and a velvet one. I think the velvet one is the more mysterious, perhaps.
Okay, as you're sort of pondering this and you're rowing away, from the direction that you came from, you hear an ear-piercing scream.
What do you think that was?
It fades away. You see the lieutenant's like,
did it sound like the merchant?
it was difficult to tell. It was very high pitched.
Okay.
Can't see it being that big geezer.
No.
I didn't see anyone else. But it was
But if he
very
was
dark.
going to kill the merchant, he wouldn't have stopped, right?
Nah,
No. Anyway.
can't say as I really care, fellas. Got a crossbow bolt sticking out of me and I'm bleeding to death, so I'm a bit past caring.
Do you want to go quickly, Mick?
Yeah, I could do with some a trip to somewhere to sort this out before it gets messy. I wouldn't mind a drop of that. Wouldn't mind a drop of that grog either, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'll put the knife away.
And the butcher's in that box. Maybe it'll cheer me up.
okay,
I can bandage your wound as well. Both yourself and the lieutenant. I have bandages.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, that'll be
I'll
good.
spend half of my life in bandages, it would seem.
Okay, which of the boxes do you want to look in, guys?
I say that little blue velvet one, the first one.
Yeah, because Mick seems to have a great interest in it. I guess that's the one we open first. And that's the one
blue.
I had.
It's
So
my favourite colour.
yeah, periwinkle blue.
Okay, not
It makes a change to all that red that I get around the place.
Okay, so you open the blue velvet box, and inside is what appears to be a small opalescent pearl.
Okay.
Very nice.
Is it on like a velvet cushion inside
Indeed, it is.
the thing? I'll
Yeah, our buddies don't need to know anything about that.
I'll poke on the cushion to see if there's anything like a hidden compartment or anything.
There doesn't appear to be no.
Coolio. I will close it.
Okay, no problems.
And then
we could probably stash a couple of boxes of this wine on the way home as well for picking up later. Because we only said we was only going to deliver a certain amount, but that's up to you, fellas.
They'll probably have had spies watching us. So I suggest we bring the the correct number of crates at the very least.
Yeah, they did have people on the rooftops. I saw them when I was there.
Yeah, right enough.
Okay. And should we open the second box?
Got a funny smell, isn't it?
Yeah, it does have this weird smell of damp earth about it.
Damn.
Can I cast detect traps on it just in case, since it smells off, just to make sure it's not?
You whisper a prayer and move your hand over the box. You're sensing no traps on the box.
Okay.
What do we know about occult things? Can I?
Well, we're not really sorcerers around here.
But there are goblins. Are there ogres around?
Maybe it's truffles. Maybe it's truffles.
Werewolves?
Yeah, there's certainly legends of werewolves. Yeah.
Are there legends of other things?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Basically, if you think of anything that there's a legend for in actual medieval England, there'll be some version of a legend of it in the Havenlands.
Okay, because he travels at night and he has a small container of earth.
Well, we'll see. Will you open it, Mick, or should I?
Yeah, open it up. In for a penny, in for a pound. I think it might be truffles. They're quite expensive. So I hear.
Okay, so you open the box, and inside is a large, white-stemmed, orange-capped mushroom.
Ah, there you go. Told yous. I may have had a tip-off. Somebody might have got a new book, mightn't they, John, eh? Couldn't resist.
I think the Sir Thomas would probably be very interested in that one.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Now you've opened the box a bit, and obviously you've looked at the mushroom inside. There's a slight sort of smell of exotic spices about it.
Some sort of Eastern, because he's from out east, isn't he?
Yeah, well, the merchandise is anyway. The script isn't Havenlander, and it's not Gaulish either. So.
And that brute was neither, right? Did anyone understand the language he spoke?
No.
No. No.
Well, I tell you what, Lieutenant, since you're a well-travelled man, obviously military campaigns, etc., would you like to roll me a d6?
I can tell you he's not from round these parts.
He's not from the East End, is he?
He's no slaughter ward fella.
Right.
Okay.
Blimey.
You're pretty sure he was speaking Carpathian.
Ooh.
Carpathian, I think. I'm sure I've heard some mercenaries speaking that in my time.
And feel free to note down in your character sheet that you understand the basics of Carpathian.
There's some mountains in that region, don't
they? Full of bleeding vampires too.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Not that I would know that, of course.
Well, might do.
My knowledge stretches about as far as the South Downs, I reckon.
Okay, Okay, and as you guys row off towards your meeting with the red moths, ready to share out the loot as you see fit, that is where we're going to draw an end to the session this evening, with the soft sound of the oars beating through the water as, musing about the Carpathian Mountains, the lieutenant steamingly rows you to your meeting. And that is where we're going to wrap up, guys. Thank you very much for playing.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff.
Obviously, feel free to have a think before the next session about like what stuff you want to actually turn over to the red moths. And what we'll probably do is at the start of the next session, we'll just like summarise the meetings. I don't think we need to like play it out. But basically, they're going to be like, good job. You guys did a great job. Thanks for the loot. We might be able to put some more work your way in the future if you're interested. Now we know we can trust you. Will be the gist of it. So obviously work out what you want to share with them and what you don't. But we can chat about that at the start of the next session. I'll work out XP, etc. So between now and the next session, I'll obviously share that with you probably on the Facebook chat, guys. I'm obviously happy to chat for a bit, but for now, I'm just going to say thank you to my wonderful players and to anyone who is watching this either now or in the future. And we're going to end the recording here, so take care. We'll catch you soon.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Catch you later.
Yeah.